Hi everyone, welcome to this video. My name is Bappi Ahmed and I'm your host. So guys, I'm going to start a very important Python concept called object-oriented programming, because so far we have completed like so many things inside Python. If you check, so far we have completed till functional programming inside Python, and now we'll be starting with advanced concept inside Python, which is nothing but OOP, that means object oriented programming. Maybe you have heard of this particular name, okay? But what is OOP? I will give you each and every idea. So if you don't know about OOP, no need to worry. So each and everything would be clear from this particular playlist itself. And trust me guys, this is super important concept in a programming. It's not about only Python programming. In every programming language, you will see this particular OOP concept. And it will really help you whenever you will be creating real world application, like you will be creating, let's say, a bigger application. This concept will help you a lot. So before starting with this object oriented programming inside Python, first of all, I want to share one real world experience from my side, because I already told you I already have so many years of experience in the development. I already work with so many development team. Even I already develop lots of product. So I will give you one actually real world experience from my side, why this object oriented programming is super important and how it helped me. Okay, that time. Then I think this would be more clear. Then I will start with the concept of the object oriented programming. Okay, because I know as a beginner you will have the question. Let's say so far we have learned till functional programming inside Python, and with the help of function we can create different module of our program, right? You are completely right. You can also use functional programming to create your application. There is no issue, but still there would be different problem actually will face whenever you'll be using functional programming. So that is what actually I want to share. Okay, that is what I want to share from my experience. Actually, I also faced, okay, in the industry. So for this, let's open up our Blackboard and let me show you, okay, what was the problem actually I was facing there. So guys, I still remember around 4 years back, I was working on a project called a firefighter robot. Okay, if you check my background, actually I'm from electronics background. I completed my graduation in electronics engineering, and previously I used to work in the field of robotics and I used to program robot there. So search my name on Google, Bappi Ahmed Bappi, will see my LinkedIn profile. Now here you will see each and everything about me, like what is my experience and all. So everything, it is available, okay, in my LinkedIn profile. I have added. So in my LinkedIn profile, you will see I already work with so many robotics project. Even I also added the link of that particular project in my profile. If you're interested, you can also open it and you can check it out from your side, right? All right. Now see, I still remember in this particular project, I had written around 5,000 line of code. Okay, 5,000 line of code. Okay, to complete this particular project. Now just try to think, whenever I'm creating firefighter robot, so what are the functionality I can include in the firefighter robot? Okay, so let's say this is the firefighter robot. So in a firefighter robot, actually I can integrate so many functionality. So let's say there would be a head of the robot, there would be eye of the robot. Okay, because robot can also see. Okay, with the help of camera, actually you can implement the eye module. Then let's say it has hand functionality, it has leg functionality. Let's say it has like a sensors functionality. Okay, like different sensors are integrated. Like whenever fire would be there, it will detect that particular fire. Wherever any gas should be there, it will also detect that particular gas, right? So these are the sensor actually I also integrated. Now let's say there is a final actually component I have added, which is nothing but the brain of the robot. Okay, brain. Fine. This is the controller. It will control everything. So as of now, just try to consider these are the functionality I implemented inside that particular robot. Then what I did actually, I used actually functional programming to implement these are the component one by one. So what I did, I just created different function for different components. So let's say first of all, for head, I created a function. Let's say def head. Okay, so head is a function. And inside that I written the code related head, like how head will be working, how it will move. Okay, everything I had written. Now for the eye also, I had created another function. Let's say def eye. Okay, and inside that I just written eye related code. Now for hand, I created another function, def hand. Okay, hand. Now inside hand, I just created hand related code. Now for leg, I created another function, called leg, and for leg operation I written some of the code here. Now for sensors I created another function, sorry, def sensors, and for sensor operation I created some of the code. Now for brain I created another function, and I written brain related code here. Okay, so this was my approach to solve this particular problem statement. Actually I received from that particular industry. So now I think you can see it's completely fine. I can implement this particular project like that in a functional way. There is no issue because I created different module. You can see head module, eye module, hand module, leg module, sensor module, brain module. And if I combine all of them together, I can create a firefighter robot. Okay, fine. But the main challenge actually I got whenever they told me to create another robot. Actually, let's say this is robot 1. Let's say this is robot 1. Firefighter robot 1. Fine. Now they told me just to get another firefighter robot. So what I will do, I'll just try to copy the same functionality as it is. Okay, I just copy pasted this one here because I don't want to write again. See, then they told me to create another robot which will have the same functionality. Let me just write as a robot 2. Okay, it would be robot 2. And they told me this particular robot 1 will be able to control this robot 2. That means I have to write all the functionality of the robot 2 inside robot 1. Okay, that is what actually they told me. So then what I started, I again followed that particular functional approach. Then I started again creating different functions, okay, for different actually component. So let me just copy paste again. Now see, I implemented in that way. Now one issue I think you will observe. See, whenever I created robot 2 functionality and I created all the component one by one, okay, with the help of function, this will actually mismatch together. You can see this is my robot 1 functionality called head. Okay, the robot 2 functionality I created another head. It is here. Now I think you know inside inside one file I can't define 2 head. Okay, I can't define the same name of a function. It's not possible. Okay, if you're defining same name, it's not possible. Okay, you have to use a different name. Okay, but there is a condition. I have to add function robot 2 functionality inside robot 1. Okay, inside robot 1. So I had to write in that way. Okay, so I was facing this kinds of issue. That means I was not able to write robot 2 functionality inside robot 2 because you can see all the actually component is missing. All the functionality is missing, right? You can see robot 2 is having also the same functionality, head, eye, hand, leg, sensor, brain. So I can't create the same function again. Okay, inside that particular same file. It's not possible. I can't create the same functionality again. Okay, I think you are getting what I'm trying to say. Then actually I stuck in this particular project and I was thinking how I can solve this particular problem statement. Okay, how I can solve this particular problem statement because I have to repeat this particular function again inside of one file. It's not possible here. I can mismatch the function. Okay, and if I'm somehow mismatching the function, let's say I'm giving head 1 or let's say head 2, head I 2. Okay, that's how. Let's say I'm giving hand 2. That means this is the robot 2 related functionality. Okay, let's say somehow I'm giving in that way. So what will happen? I'm creating so many functions in just one line. Let's say after 6 months, my company will tell me, just try to fix this particular function again. So what I have to do, I have to come here and I have to check that particular function. So it would be very hard for me to figure that particular function. And again, you are writing the same code. So it is possible to mismatch the code. It is possible to, let's say, conflict the code together. Okay, but I don't want to take this particular risk. Now let's say there might be another condition. Your company will tell you, just try to create another robot called robot 3, robot 4, robot 5, and so on. So you have to again repeat this at the function. Okay, just try to think how many line of code, how many function you have to create in just one file. So here the code management would be really hard for you. Okay, the code management would be really hard for you if you're writing the code in that way, in a functional way. Okay, so that time actually I heard of something called OP. Okay, object oriented programming, OP. Okay, inside Python. So as I already told you, the full form of OP is object oriented programming. Now I was a little curious about the OP. Like I just heard this OP is like very powerful and we can actually solve this kinds of problem very easily. Okay, with the help of OP. Then I started learning OP. Then after learning OP, I got one amazing idea to solve this particular problem. Okay, I was just very happy because of this particular OOP. And that time I was thinking it's like very easy concept, and it's like very efficient concept we can use whenever we are trying to create any kinds of big application, whenever we are trying to create any kinds of real world application. Okay, instead of functional programming, if we are using this particular OOP concept, it would be really easy for us to manage our code base. Okay, so what I did there, after learning OP concept, there is a concept called class. Okay, class inside actually object oriented programming. That means you can create different class. Instead of creating like different function, what you can do, you can create a different class, and inside class you can create different method, which is also considered as a function. Okay, but whatever function we write in a class, this is called method. Inside OP we call it as a method. Okay, not a function. See, in our world actually everything is an entity. Let's say if I'm talking about robot. Okay, robot is an entity, yes or no? It's an entity. Okay, entity. Then if I'm talking about human, okay, human is also an entity. This is a machine entity. Okay, this is a machine entity, this is a person entity. Okay, and animal also an entity. Okay, animal also entity. What kinds of entity? They're animal class. Okay, they're animal class. They're not related to human class or robot class. That means we can also call them as a class. Okay, we can also call them as a class. Okay, different class. So robot class, human class, animal class, yes or no? So this OP programming concept has taken from the real world only. So those who develop this particular OP concept, they consider, okay, in our world actually everything is an entity. So I can use this particular concept and I can create a very like efficient programming paradigm, okay, with the help of OP concept. Now see here, instead of writing the functional programming inside OP programming, what you have to do, you have to return a class. Okay, so what I did, I just written a class. Let's say class robot. Okay, robot 1. Okay, robot 1 is my first class. Okay, inside robot 1, how many functionality I had? I think remember we had head function, eye function, hand function, leg function, sensor function. Let me write. Let's say I had head function. Okay, I had leg function, I had eye function. Okay, I had, let's say, brain function, and so on. Just consider all of the function I written previously, right? What I did, I created another class called class robot. Okay, robot 2. Inside robot 2, again I created all the function. I have related robot 2, let's say head, then I have, let's say, leg. Okay, then I have, let's say, eye. Okay, then I have, let's say, brain. Now one thing I think you can see, this function is not getting overlapped together because it is present inside robot 1 and it is present inside robot 2. Now let's say if I want to access robot 1 head, so how I will access? I'll just simply write robot. Okay, robot 1. Okay, so robot 1 I will store as an object. Okay, I'll also like discuss what is object inside object oriented programming. Like you already see the name, right? Object oriented programming. So there is a relationship, okay, between object and class. I will also show you the difference between object and class. Okay, what is an object and what is a class actually. As of now, just try to get it. If I want to access robot 1 functionality, first of all, I have to create an object. Okay, object of robot 1. Okay, object of robot 1. Let's say now I'll just write object dot head. Let's say I want to access this particular head function. Okay, head. Now if I execute this code, it will access my robot 1 head. Now let's say I want to access robot 2 head. What I will do, I'll create another object. Let's say obj is equal to robot. Okay, robot 2. And I will call, let's say this is object 1, this is object 2. Okay, now I'll just write object 2 dot head. Fine. Now it will execute my robot 2 head functionality. Now one thing I think you can see, this particular 2 code base is completely different. Okay, completely is different because here I have created class 1, because here I have created class robot 1 and here I have created class robot 2. And whenever I want to access something from robot 1, I can initialize an object. And whenever I can, whenever I want to access anything from the robot 2, I can create another object. Okay, that's how I can separate out the same function. Okay, that's how I can separate out the same function. Okay, I hope you got it. And now if I'm getting the task, let's say I also need to create robot 3, robot 4, and so on. Easily I can create. What I will do, I'll again write a class. Let's say I'll copy, and here I'm going to paste. Let's say again I'll just write a class called robot 3. Okay, robot 3. Again I can write a class, let's say robot 4. Okay, robot 4, and so on. Okay, and so on. You can create as much as class you can right now, because here you are creating separate class. Okay, separate class. Inside separate class you are creating the function, and this particular function is separated from each other, although they're same function, but it is separated inside a different class. Now tell me, which one approach is good, this functional approach or this particular class approach? Just pause the video and let me know. Okay, just try to think. It's like very easy to organize my code right now. Now let's say your company is telling, just try to let's say add some more functionality in robot 1. What you will do, you will come inside robot 1 and you will add more functionality here. Okay, but previously if your company tell you try to add some more functionality inside robot 1, how you'll do? Because all the function are same at the end. Okay, so here again you need to create with some other name, and you can like somehow add the functionality, but again the code management would be very hard for you, so it's not a recommended way, right? So that's why this OP helps us to write our code in a very efficient way, and it's like very powerful concept inside Python. Okay, so far whatever functional programming you have learned, it's completely fine. Okay, it's completely fine. If you have any easy problem statement, you can solve with the help of functional programming. But whenever you are working in the real world application, whenever you are creating a very big application, you also need to think the future of that particular application. Let's say in future I want to add some more functionality. Let's say I'm talking about Facebook. Facebook is day by day they are updating in their software. They're adding new functionality. So Facebook is also using the, let's say, object-oriented programming concept. So they're creating different class. Let's say in future I want to create another class. The class name should be human. Okay, class name is a human. Okay, let's say my robot will try to interact with the human. I'll create a human. Okay, inside human I'll create some functionality. Okay, I'll create some functionality. Now you'll see it's a different entity right now. Okay, so I don't need to write all the functionality related human inside my robot code. Okay, inside my robot functionality, because I have an option. I can create a different class, and inside that I can mention different functionality of the human. So let me give you a very good example. Let's say there is two person, let's say Bappy. Okay, and there is another person, let's say Alex. Okay, now person is also entity. Okay, person is also entity or class. Now what I will do, I'll just try to create a class. Let's say class Bappy. Okay, and class Alex. Okay, now Bappy will have what? Bappy will have eye. Bappy will have mouth. Okay, Bappy will have, let's say, hand. Okay, hand. Bappy will have leg. Alex is also having the same, let's say, component. Let's say eye. Let's say mouth. Okay, then hand, and then leg. Okay, that's how we can see both are same entity. Okay, but I'm defining in a separate class name. Okay, I'm defining a separate class name. Now let's say if you're using functional approach, so what you have to do, we have to add these are the functionality inside here only, and after doing it you will see that this function will mismatch together. Now you won't be getting like which one is the eye of the Bappy, which one is the eye of the Alex. Okay, that's the idea. I hope you got it. So that's how with the help of OP programming we can actually manage our code base in a very easy way. Okay, and we can create our application in a very efficient way. So let's say if I want to add something in the future, I can easily do it. Okay, so that's why it's always recommended to use OP concept whenever you are creating any real world application. And there are some more features you will get from the OP. Like there are some more functionality actually will get. So let me give you one real-time example. Let's say, I think you have heard of the Kali Linux, guys. I think you know what is Kali Linux, right? So after this demo, I think you will automatically get why OP is important. Okay, OP is important. So Kali Linux is nothing but it's a Linux distribution. Okay, and inside Linux actually we are having different actually distribution. Like we are having Ubuntu, we are having, let's say, CentOS, we are having, let's say, Alpine, different actually distribution you will get inside Linux operating system, right? So Kali is one of them. Okay, now you just tell me why Kali is so popular. Just pause the video and let me know why Kali is so popular. I think you got it. Kali is popular because of the hacking. Because if you see, those who actually works in the cyber security, or let's say hacking domain, they use this particular actually distribution like Kali operating system they will be using, because inside Kali, hacking related all the tools would be like default installed. Okay, it will let's say whatever actually tool you need for the hacking, everything would be present inside Kali operating system. That means you don't need to additionally, let's say, install anything here. So it will give you all the functionality related hacking. Okay, I hope you got it. But if you're a hacker, you can also hack from the Windows machine. You can also hack from the, let's say, Mac based machine. Yes or no? You can do it. But if you're using Windows Mac based machine, so what will happen? You have to install those are the tools separately. That means you have to set up everything from scratch there, right? But if you're using Kali Linux, what you have to do? You don't need to install them separately. The functionality already there. You only will be using that particular tools and technology. Yes or no? That's why hacker will prefer this particular Kali Linux. Okay, if they want to hack, not about Windows, not about Mac operating system. Okay, I hope you got it. So similar wise, inside programming, okay, inside programming, you can write the code with the help of functional programming. It's fine. Okay, but if you're using OOP concept, that means object-oriented programming, it will give you some more functionality to write your code in a very efficient way, to manage your code base in a very efficient way. So that's why all the developer prefers this particular OOP concept, because all the functionality, okay, all the functionality related to the code management, the code security, okay, inheritance, abstraction, all the functionality will get inside OP. Okay, inside OP. So you don't need to write anything from scratch there. Okay, it's not required. So this is one very good example I can give you. Now I think it is clear why OP concept is super important. Okay, you can solve anything with the functional programming, but you have to write the code from scratch for the security, for the abstraction, for the inheritance, right? And for the code management. But if you're using OP, you don't need to do anything. OP will automatically take care of this part. Okay, and inside OP you will get different functionality. Like we'll be learning so many concepts inside OP. So let me show you some of the OP concept actually we'll be learning. So guys, you can see inside OP we'll be learning something called class and object. Because first of all, we have to understand this class and object, because many of you will get confused what is class and what is an object inside OP. Then after that we'll be learning something called abstraction, polymorphism, encapsulation, inheritance. Okay, these are the very super important concepts inside OP, and these are the concepts will give you lots of power, okay, during write your code. And you'll see that whenever you'll be learning, these are the functionality, these are the, let's say, topic, you'll be enjoying a lot. Okay, and you will think like, okay, so this is the programming I was looking for, and this is the concept I was looking for, and with the help of that I can easily manage my code base, and I can easily create a very big software, okay, without any kinds of hesitation, without any kinds of problem. Okay, so in a summary, OP nothing but it's a programming paradigm. It helps us to write efficient and optimized code, and it also helps us to manage our code base, and it will also give you some more functionality whenever you are trying to create any kinds of real world product, real world software, okay, or any bigger application. Now I think you got it. Okay, what is OP inside Python, and why it is so important. Fine. Before ending the video, I just wanted to show you all the real world application using this particular OP concept. Let me show you one of the project implementation. Let's say if I'm search for PyTorch. Okay, PyTorch is a actually library, deep learning library, and it is an open source library from the Meta AI. So they have developed this particular, let's say, library. Now if you see their code implementation, let's say if I go to the PyTorch and if I show you their code implementation, let's say I'll open up any kinds of function. Now here you will see they're using class concept. Okay, they're using class concept. If you open up any kinds of function, okay, any kinds of code, you will see they're using class concept. See, they're using class concept. Okay, so this is called, they're using object-oriented programming concept here. So we'll be also learning these kinds of implementation. Okay, how we can do. I will show you one very good example in this particular playlist. We'll be creating one banking application with the help of, we'll be understanding this particular OP concept. Because see, OP is all about actually practical understanding. Okay, it's not about theoretical understanding. Okay, if you deep dive in the theory, definitely will get confused. So OP always you need to understand as a practical way. Okay, whenever you will be do the practical OP, this particular concept would be more clear in your mind. Because I have seen many learners, they won't be able to clear with this particular OP concept because of the they will try to understand the theoretical concept of OP instead of writing the practical. Okay, instead of understanding the practical. So I'll make sure I will give you the proper practical, okay, proper, let's say, practical understanding. I will show you a real-time demo so that this particular concept will be more clear in your mind. Okay, and this is my promise, guys. If you complete this particular playlist, you will become champion inside Python. Even you will be also become champion inside object-oriented programming, and you won't be having any kinds of doubt, okay, inside this particular concept. So yes, this is all about from this particular video. So in the next video, we'll try to understand this class and object inside OP. So we'll try to understand the difference between class and object. Then after that, we'll try to discuss abstraction, polymorphism, encapsulation, and inheritance concept as well. Okay. So with that, thank you so much for watching this particular video, and I will see you next time. Hello everyone, welcome back. So guys, in this video, we'll try to discuss another very important topic inside OOP, that means object-oriented programming, called class versus object. Because I have seen like many people have this doubt, like what is the class and what is the object inside OOP, okay? Because there are so many confusion I have seen. So let me first of all clarify what is the class and what is the object inside OOP, okay? After understanding it, going forward, whatever code actually will be writing, it would be very much clear in your mind, okay? So for this, let me open up my code editor and let me show you some of the example there. So see guys, if I just write this particular statement, let's say I'll take a list. So let's say I'm having one list, 1, 2, 3, 4. And now if I just write L dot upper, okay, L dot upper. And now if I execute this particular code, so what would be the output? Just pause the video and let me know. See, if I execute the program, it will throw me one error, and the error is list object no attribute upper. Fine. Now I will just write another program. Let's say s is equal to Bappy. Okay. Now if I just write let's say s dot append. Okay. Let's say I want to append f here. Now again, if I execute the program, what will be the output? See, if I execute the program, again it will throw me one error. Okay, it is telling me string object no attribute append. Now you will tell me, sir, are you mad? Because list doesn't have any kinds of upper function and string doesn't have any kinds of append function. So why you are writing this kinds of wrong code here? See, I have written this wrong code because I wanted to show you one thing here. See, every time whenever I'm getting this particular error, every time you will see it is telling object. Okay, it is telling object. See, the first thing it is telling list object no attributes attribute upper, string object no attribute append. Okay, now see, if I just write another data type, let's say I'll take a data type, let's say a is equal to, let's say 66. Now if I just write, let's say a index of 0 is equal to 1. Now if I execute, now I will see that it will throw me another error. Integer object does not support item assignment. That means in Python, everything it is considering as an object. Okay, whatever data type actually you are using, everything would be considered as an object. So there is a line actually in Python, everything in Python is an object. Okay, that is what I just wanted to show you here. Because you saw the object, okay, object oriented programming. I think you saw this particular term. So that is why I just wanted to show you the relationship. Okay, what is the object and object oriented programming, okay, inside Python. Because in Python, whatever data type you are using and whenever you are storing this particular data type, okay, in a variable, this is actually nothing but it's an object, okay, object of that particular data type. Okay, I hope now it is clear. That means list is a data type and L is the object of this particular list. And here string is the data type, S is the object of this particular string. And here integer is the data type, A is the object of this particular integer. Okay, I hope it is clear. Now another thing I want to show you, let's say I'll copy the same list here. And now if I show the type of this particular L, so type of L. Now see, if I execute the program, you'll see it will tell you it is a class list. Okay, now similar wise I will copy the next one. Now instead of appending, I'll just show you the type of the C. Again, it is telling class string. Okay, similar wise I will also copy this one. Now I'll check the type of A. Okay, you'll see that it's a class integer. That means in Python, whatever data type you are using, it's a class. Okay, it's a class. See, different class. It's a list class, it's a string class, and it's an integer class. You can also see the implementation of this particular class, how they have implemented. So instead of defining this literal like that, I can define like that. Let's say L is equal to list. Okay, I think you know list is a function inside Python. Now see, this list is a class. Now see, if I want to see the implementation of list, I'll just press Ctrl and I'll do the left click. Now see, it will show me the implementation of this particular list class. Now see, it's a class. list is a class, okay, and inside that they have created different function of this particular class. So similar wise, string is a class, so you can use this particular statement. So to define a string, you can use like that, str, okay, str. Now if I again press Ctrl and left click, you will see that it will open this particular string class as well. Got it? Now I think you got it. So in Python, whatever data type you are using, it's a class at the end. And this particular class is having some of the functionality. So let me show you. So let's say if I just write like that, I'll copy this line and I will execute. Now see, if I just write like that, L dot, okay, L dot. Now if I wait, it will show me different function. You can see it will show me different function, like I can perform append operation, clear operation, copy operation, count operation, and so on. So similar wise for the string as well. Let's say there is one string I'm having, and now if I press now if I just write s dot, you will see that it will also suggest me some functionality related string. Okay, now see, append is not there because append is not a function inside string class. Okay, now if I press L dot, you will see this particular append. Now append is a function of a list class. Okay, that's why you can see this particular function here. Okay, now you can ask me, then what is the difference between object and class? See the easy definition you can remember. Whatever data type you are writing, okay, this is called class. Let's say whatever data type you are using, this is called class. I'm using list, then let's say string, integer, float, then you can say boolean, whatever actually you are using the data type. This is called actually class inside Python. Okay, and to store this particular class, the variable you are using, this is called an object. Let's say here is the example. So this is my data type. This, what kinds of data type? This is my list type data type. Okay, I think you know. And to store this particular data type, I'm using this particular L variable. Okay, so here L is the object. That means L is the object of list. Okay, L is the object of list. That means whatever functionality you are having inside this particular class, everything can be accessed, okay, from this particular object. So that's why whenever I'm writing L dot, okay, L dot, so whatever functionality actually I'm having, okay, whatever functionality actually I'm having inside this particular list class, everything I can access. Okay, everything I can access. Append, clear, copy, count, extend, everything. Another simple example you can remember, let's say mobile. Okay, mobile is a class. Okay, mobile is a class. And Samsung, okay, Samsung is an object of mobile. Now similar wise, let's say iPhone. Okay, iPhone is the object of mobile. Then I can give another example. Let's say car is an class. Okay, car is a class. And let's say Tata is an object of car. Now let's say car is a class. BMW, okay, is an object of this particular car. Okay, now I think it is clear what is class and object inside OOP. Whatever class you are using, it doesn't matter. But if you are storing in a variable, okay, if you are storing in a variable, and that particular variable would be considered as an object inside Python. That's why at the very first I showed you now list.upper I was writing. That's why it was telling list object has no attribute upper, because here I'm calling L. And what is L? L is a object of list. Okay, that's why it's telling is an object. Similar wise for the string as well. So here s.append I'm doing. So s object does not have any append function. Okay, that's why s is an object of string. That's why s is an object here. So here I'm storing this particular string inside s, and s is nothing but it's an object right now of this particular string class. Okay, that's why it's telling a string object has no attribute append. Similar wise for the integer as well. Okay, now I think you got it. What is object and class inside Python? Okay, inside object oriented programming. Fine. And what is the syntax to define a class? The syntax is, first of all, you have to take the object name. Okay, you have to take the object name equal to, then you have to define the class name. Let's say class name. Okay, so this is the syntax. So this is the syntax you have to always follow whenever you are creating any kinds of object of a class. Okay, first of all, give the object name equal to then class name. So here I have given an example. Let's say mobile is the class, Samsung is an object, mobile is the class, iPhone is an object. Okay, car is the class, Tata is the object, car is the class, BMW is an object. Okay, so that's how in our world we are having different actually class, and with respect to that we can create different object. So let's say human is a class, pup is an object of human. Okay, then let's say human is a class, Alex is an object of that particular human. Okay, I hope it is clear. Now see, inside a class, I'm having some property. Whenever, let's say, we'll be defining our own class. See, this is the predefined class. Now, this is a predefined class. That means these are the inbuilt class inside Python. But going forward, we'll be creating our own class, our custom class. So whenever we'll be writing our custom class, inside that, what are the property I have to mention? So let me show you. So guys, you can see here is a diagram I kept. So as of now, you have learned class is a blueprint. Okay, it's a blueprint. And on top of this particular blueprint, I can define an object. Okay. Now, whenever I'm writing a class, that means I'm creating my own class. So this particular class will have two property. One is the data property. Okay. That means you have to define the data first of all. Let's say I was talking about car. Okay. Car is a class. Now, what are the data you can consider inside a car? Let's say color of the car. Then you can consider number of tire. Okay. Of that particular car. Now let's say how many seats are available inside the car. Okay, so these are the actually data. Okay, these are the data of that particular car class. Okay, and there is another property we'll see called functions or behavior. Now you can tell me what is the function or behavior of a car. So let me give you one example, like how to drive a car, how to open the door. Okay, how to start the car. So these are the functions and behavior of a car. So how it will, let's say, increase the speed, how it will press the brake. So these are some behavior or functions of a car. Okay, so now I think you got it. What is the property of a class? So whenever I'm writing my own class, my custom class, inside this particular custom class, what I have to write? I have to write two property. One is like the data property, other was like the function or behavior of that particular class. Okay, that is the idea. Now here is a class basic structure. Like whenever we'll be defining the class inside Python, what will be the structure? Okay, so here I have written a simple demo. You can see car is a class car. Here you have to use this particular class keyword. Then you have to write the class name. Okay, class name. So class car. Now inside that, you can see I'm having two property. One is like data property. Another is like my functional property, functional or behavior property. Now as a data, I told you the color of the car. So this can be considered as a data, and model of the car. Okay, this can be considered as a data. And inside that, the functionality of the car. That means the calculate the average speed. Like whenever you will drive the car, it will calculate the average speed. Okay, that means the kilometer with respect to the time. So this is called actually behavior of the car. Okay, so that's how in a class actually will have two property. One is the data property, another is the function property. That means the behavior of that particular class. I hope it is clear now. And what is the object? Object is nothing but object is an instance of a class. That means whenever you are storing any kinds of object in a variable, that can be considered as an instance. Okay, instance or object. Okay, of that particular class. So here is the example. Mobile is the class. Samsung is the object. So car is the class. Tata is an object. Okay, I hope it is clear now. So yes, this is the super important topic, because going forward, whenever we'll be writing our own class, we'll be defining our own, let's say, object of that particular class. So this concept will help you a lot, so that you won't be having any kinds of doubt, like what is the class and what is the object. Okay, now I think you got it. Now in the next video, we'll just try to write our first class. Okay, first class inside Python, and we'll see like how we can write the class, and inside the class how we can define our property, like data property as well as the functional property. Okay, with that, thank you so much for watching this particular video, and I will see you next time. Hi everyone, welcome back. So in this video, we'll be writing our first class inside object-oriented programming. We have already seen the introduction of the object-oriented programming and what is the difference between class and object. So here I'm going to show you one banking application, because as I already told you, OP is nothing but it's a completely practical understanding. And unless and until you are not getting actually real world practical understanding, so it would be a little bit difficult for you to understand. So that's why I will show you this real world application implementation here called banking application. We'll be creating one ATM machine code here. Okay, I think you saw ATM machine. So in ATM machine, what we can do? So there actually we can put our card and we can see the menu. We can create our PIN, right? We can, let's say, withdraw money. We can deposit money. Then we can also check the balance. Okay, different actually things we can perform. But here I'm not going to create the actual ATM machine, but here I will give you the high level overview how we can write the ATM machine code. Okay, so that it will give you the clear cut idea how we can use OOP concept here. Okay, if I want to implement any kinds of real world product, okay, that time. So my main intention is to show you the OOP concept. Okay, how we can use in our application building. That is the idea here. Fine. So see guys, if you want to create any kinds of class inside OOP, that means if you want to create any kinds of custom class, so you have to use this particular class keyword. Previously, I showed you some of the, let's say, class. I think remember list class I showed you. Okay, string class, str. Okay, then integer class, right? So these are the class actually. Okay, these are the class. And if you want to see the implementation, just press Ctrl and left click. You will see this particular class. Now see, they are also using the class keyword. Okay, so these are actually inbuilt class inside Python. So these are inbuilt class inside Python. Okay, we don't need to create this particular class separately. But if I want to create my own class, that means if I want to create my custom class, I already told you we can also create our own custom class. I can also create my own data type. Okay, it is also possible inside OP. Okay, so for this I need to use this particular class keyword. Now after class keyword, you have to define the class name, the name you want to define. Like previously I showed you, the list is a name, integer is a name, right? Then float is a name, then string is a name. So these are the class name. Now I can also give my custom name, like what kinds of class I want to implement. Let's say this is a ATM machine we are implementing, so I'll give the ATM machine. Okay, so ATM machine. Let's say this is my class name. Okay, after that you have to give a clone symbol. After that you have to give a clone symbol. Now you can ask me, how should I write this particular name? Is there any, let's say, suggestion? Yes, there is a suggestion. Whenever you are defining, let's say, this class name, you have to follow something called Pascal case. Okay, Pascal case character. So what is Pascal case? See, let's say if I want to write hello world, let's say I can write like that, hello world. Pascal case means you need to write everything together. Okay, together. So how to write everything together? Either I can use, let's say, underscore sign. Okay, either I can let's delete this particular underscore sign. Okay, but it's not recommended to use the underscore sign. Whenever you are writing any kinds of class name, no need to use any kinds of underscore sign, or let's say hyphen sign. Okay, no need to take. So Pascal case means if you want to take any name, and if this particular name contains, let's say, multiple word, what you have to do, you have to take them together. And whenever you are starting the second one, you have to take the first character in a uppercase. Okay, first character in uppercase, and this is called actually Pascal case. Okay, now let's say I want to write my name, Bappi Ahmed. So what I'll do, I'll just write like that, Bappi. Now Ahmed, A would be capital, AHMED. Okay, that's how I can write this particular Pascal case word. Okay, I hope you got it. Now here is my class name is ATM machine. So ATM machine contains two words. So ATM is the word and machine is the word. So here I've taken the machine. That means M is a uppercase character. Okay, now I think it is clear. Now I think you remember class actually contains two property. As I already showed you one diagram. So let's say if I want to create a class. So class usually contains two property. One is the data property. Okay, data property. And another property is the function property. Okay, functions. Okay, functions or behavior. You can also tell it as behavior. Okay, now you can tell me, whenever I'm writing ATM machine code, I'm implementing ATM machine here. Now inside ATM machine, what are the data you can consider? Just tell me what are the data you can consider. Pause the video and can let me know. See, I think I can consider pin is a data. That means I can change the pin inside ATM. Or let's say whenever I want to enter in my account, I need to pass my pin, right? Then if I want to change the pin, I again need to pass my pin there. So pin is a data. I can consider pin is a data here. So it should be pin. Now the next data I can consider balance. Okay, like I can also check the balance, and balance will store my balance. Okay, like how much balance actually I'm having. Apart from that, I think no, there is nothing actually I can consider. So let's say these are the data actually I can consider inside my ATM machine. So now first of all I have to define the data property inside a class. And how to define a data property? For this you have to use one special actually function inside a class called constructor. See, that's how we can define a constructor. So let me show you. So that's how actually you can define a constructor. Now you can ask me, what is constructor? Constructor is nothing but constructor is nothing but it's a special function. So I'll just write constructor. So whenever you will see this kinds of function underscore init underscore, so you have to consider it's a constructor function. Okay, it's a constructor function. So it's a special function actually, a special function, and it has some superpower. I will discuss this constructor in more detail. As of now, just try to consider. It's a special function inside a class, and whatever data actually you have to write. That means whatever data property you have to write, as I already showed you, whatever data property you have to write, all the data property you have to write inside this particular constructor function. Okay. Now I told you I need two data property. One is like pin and balance. Okay. So I will mention it here. So first of all, I'll take the pin. Okay. Pin is equal to, let's say, empty. Initially the pin would be empty. There won't be any kinds of pin. And the second things actually I have to mention the balance. Okay. Balance. So initially balance would be 0. Now see, this is not a actual way to define our data. Okay, this is not actual way to define this particular class variable. We can also call it as a class variable. This data property can be called as class variable also. Now one thing I think you can see, I'm giving a self here. Inside this particular parenthesis, I'm giving self. Now you can ask me what is self. This particular constructor you have defined. Okay, so this is the ATM machine constructor. Self is nothing but it is pointing to the ATM machine. It is telling it is the ATM machine constructor. Okay, this is not any other class constructor. Now here you have to also define, these are the variable you have defined. Okay, in which class it is belong to. It is belong to ATM class. So you have to give the self here. Okay, self here, this particular self keyword. Okay, so that's how we have to define a data. Okay, that's how we have to define a class variable always. So this is the actually rule. If you are using Python class, if you want to define a Python class, you have to follow this particular rule always. Now see, if I execute the program, there won't be any kinds of output, because if you want to get an output, what you have to do, first of all, you have to define the object of this particular class, then you will be able to get that particular output. Okay, now I think you remember I told you difference between object and class. Okay, now if I want to define the object of this particular class, how I can define? So I'll just take a variable, let's say object, okay, is equal to my class name, ATM machine. Now ATM machine is my custom class. Okay, I have created, and object is nothing but it's an object. Okay, obj is nothing but it's an object of this particular class. Okay, now see, if I execute, again there won't be any kinds of, let's say, output, because here I am not returning anything, or I haven't called any kinds of function. Okay, inside that is the idea. I'll tell you how we can define a function inside a class. Okay, we can define a different function, and we can call that particular function as a method. Okay, that time. Now see, if I just show you the type of the object, so type, okay, type of the object, you'll see that it's a class ATM machine. Okay, that means we have successfully created our custom class. Okay, custom class. So previously I was using inbuilt class, now I have created my custom class, and here you can see the type. Okay, it's a class ATM machine class. Okay, I hope you got it. Now whenever you are using any kinds of ATM machine, if you just let's say put your card in the machine, it will show you one menu, like you want to, let's say, create a pin, or you want to change a pin, or you want to, let's say, check balance, withdraw money, or deposit the money. Okay, so these kinds of actually, let's say, interface actually it will give you, right? So here also I want to create a menu function. So whenever user will execute my, so whenever user will let's say use my ATM machine, that means whenever user will execute my code, they will also get the menu. Okay, like what they want to perform with the help of this particular ATM machine. So for this here, I'm going to take a method. Okay, I'm going to take a method. So I'll just write def menu. I'm going to name this particular method as menu, and again it's a property of ATM machine. That means this particular method is belonging to ATM machine class. Okay, that's why you have to assign this particular self. Self means it is locating, it is the ATM machine function. Okay, this is the ATM machine function, not any other class function. Okay, that is the idea. And inside that, first of all, I'll take an input from the user. So user underscore input. So user will pass, let's say, so inside input, I will just give a message first of all. So I already written the message. Let me show you. Like, hi, how I can help you. Press 1 to create a pin. Press 2, change the pin. Press 3, check the balance, and press 4 to withdraw. Or if you press anything, it will exit this particular ATM machine. Okay, this is the welcome message I have given. Now see, we have defined a method here, and this is also called a function. But you can ask me when we have to call this is a function and when I have to call this is a method. See, whenever you are using function outside of a class, okay, outside of a class, like I showed you, okay, previously I showed you the function, right? So I was writing outside of a class. Okay, this is called actually function. Okay, this is called actually function, and function doesn't have any kinds of self. Okay, self keyword inside that. And when we'll be calling as a method, whenever I'm using the function inside a class, okay, inside a class, that time actually I'll call as a method. Okay, method of this particular class. That means menu is a method of ATM machine class. Okay, I hope it is clear. And how to identify the method, you will see this particular self keyword every time. And what self will do, self will try to relocate, like that means this is the ATM machine function. Okay, self is itself is a ATM machine class. Okay, now if I execute the program, now see there is no output because I have to first of all initialize the object of the ATM machine. Now see I have also initialized. Now if I want to execute this particular method, what I have to do, I have to call this particular method first of all. So how I can call, easily I can call, I'll just write obj. Okay, if I press, let's say, obj, and if I press dot, okay, now see all the, let's say, functionality I'm having inside my class, everything it is suggesting here. See, if I just press dot, it is giving me the balance, menu, pin. That means all the property, all the data property as well as the function property it is giving me here. You can see. Okay, it is suggesting. Now let's say I want to execute the menu. I'll select the menu, and menu is a function. That's why you have to give the parenthesis. Now see if I execute. Now it is asking, okay, it is asking how I can help you. Please want to create a pin. Please two to change the pin, and 3 to check the balance, and 4 to withdraw, and 5 and anything to exit this particular application. Now let's say I'll give 1 here. Now if I execute, see my code would be executed successfully. So if I want to execute any method inside a class, I have to call that particular method here, okay, with this particular object. First of all, define the object of that particular class, then just try to call that particular method. This is the idea. Now let's say I want to check the balance. So what I will do, I'll simply give obj dot balance. Okay, now balance is a variable, it's not a function. Okay, so I don't need to give the parenthesis. I'll directly execute. Now see, it will give me 0. That means currently my balance is 0 here. Okay, I hope it is clear. That means whatever property you have defined, whether it can be data property, whether it can be function property, everything you can access with the help of this particular ATM machine object. Fine, this is the idea. Now let me delete. Now see, I don't want to actually call this particular menu here. Okay, I want whenever user will initialize this particular ATM machine, that means they will execute my ATM machine code, directly they will get this particular menu. Okay, menu option. So for this, I can use one very smart approach. See, I already told you constructor is nothing but it's a special function. It has some superpower. What kinds of superpower? Whenever you initialize your object, that means your class object, so that time your constructor will automatically call. You don't need to call it. So this is a function. This particular function you don't need to call separately. Let me show you. So let's say if I give a print statement here, I'll just write a print statement, print. Let's say I am executing. Okay, let's say this is the message. Now see, whenever I will execute my object, see, whenever I'm initializing my object, you will see this particular message, I'm executing. See, I'm not calling this particular function anywhere. I'm not calling this particular constructor function anywhere. This special function anywhere I'm not calling. Still it is executing automatically. Okay, that's why we call it as a special function, and it has some superpower. Superpower means it can call itself. Okay, it can call itself. I don't need to call it. Automatically this particular function will be executed whenever you will be defining the object of that particular class. Okay, I hope you clear. Now I can use this particular smart approach, and I can call this particular method. Okay, so what I can do, I can just write self.menu. That means I want to execute this particular method, and this method is present in which class? It is present in self class. That means ATM class. Okay, that's why I'm writing self. Now I'm calling this particular method here. Now see, whenever I will execute the program, this particular line, that means whenever I'm initializing the object, it will automatically call that particular menu function. See, if I'm executing now, see, it is asking for the input. Now you can give any kinds of input. Let's say I'll give 1, and if I execute, now see, my code would be executed successfully. So that's why we call this particular constructor as a special function. Okay, special function inside class. Okay, I hope you clear. Okay, so now what I have to do, I have to create different function for all the operation. First of all, let's say if user is giving, so here I'll just check. So here I will just check if user entered, let's say user input is equal to let's say 1. Okay, if it is 1, so what I want to do, I want to create a pin. Okay, I want to create a pin, because here I have mentioned if user is giving 1, I want to create a pin. Okay, so it should be clone, not a semicolon. As of now, I'll just do the pass operation, because I'm not going to create the function. First of all, let me define the structure, skeleton of my program, then I'll create the function. Okay, now I'll check another condition, if user, okay, user input is equal to 2, what I want to do, I want to change the pin. Okay, change pin, and I will do the pass operation as of now. Let me give a space so that it will be good. Okay, yeah. Then I'll take another condition, if user is user input is equal to 3. So what I want to do, I want to check the balance. Check balance. Okay, and I'll do the pass operation. If user input is equal to 4, I want to perform the withdraw operation. Okay, and with the pass operation. Else, okay, if they are giving any other input, okay, I'll just write in the else condition. Simply I'll do the exit operation from my application. Okay, this is the idea. So here you can just match 1 to create a pin, 1 to create a pin, 2 to change the pin, 3 to check the balance, and 4 to withdraw, and anything else to exit. Okay, that's how I have created the skeleton of this particular code. Okay, so as of now, what I have done, I just define my data property inside this particular class, and I've also taken one functional property. Okay, because you can see in a class we are having two kinds of property, data property and functional property. And here functional property wise, like how many functional property you have to take, I think here I have just written your ATM machine will be able to create a pin, change the pin, check the balance, withdraw, and if you press any other button, it will exit that particular application. Okay, so these are the, let's say, functional property I will be taking in this particular ATM machine. Okay, but in actual ATM machine, you will see some more features they have added right now. You can also deposit the money. Okay, if you want to deposit the money, you can also deposit the money. If you also want to, let's say, send the money to other bank account, you can also do it. Okay, but I'm not going to create all the functionality here because I told you I'm only going to show you the, let's say, OP concept here, like how it can be used here. That is the idea. All right, now what I will do, I'll just try to create these are the functionality one by one. First of all, let's create the create pin functionality. So for this, what I will do, I will take another method after this particular menu. So here what I can do, let me zoom out. So I'll be taking another method called def create underscore pin. Okay, so with the help of that, user can create the pin here. So again, I'll mention this particular self because it's a method of ATM machine class. Okay, that's why I have to give this particular self. Now see, whenever you are defining any other method, make sure you are defining along with this particular method. Okay, the previous method, not inside this particular method. Okay, that is the idea. Now to create a pin, first of all, I have to take the input from the user. So I'll just write user underscore pin. So here I will take an input. I will ask enter your pin, and whatever pin user will give me, I'll just store in a variable called self.pin. I think you remember we have taken one class variable inside constructor here. Okay, inside that I'm going to store this particular pin. So I'm going to call self.pin equal to user pin. That's it. Now see, what I'm going to do, see, initially there won't be any kinds of balance in my bank account, right? Here we're not creating the actual bank account. So here, see, actual bank account, what happens? They're connected with their database, and from the database itself, they can get to know, okay, how much money actually, let's say, this person is having. But currently, we don't have any kinds of money in our account. So what I will do, I will ask the user to put the money. Okay. So here I will take another input. I'll just write user underscore balance is equal to, I'll take input and I will ask enter. Okay, enter balance. And I think you know balance should be one integer type data. So I'll just try to convert in a integer. Now simply I will store the balance where inside my balance variable. Okay, here. So I'll just write self dot balance is equal to user balance. Okay, that's it. Now once it is done, I'll just give a message. The message would be pin created successfully. Okay, this is the message I want to show. That's it. Okay, so I'm able to create this particular method. That means create pin method I have completed. Now let me test whether it's working or not. So what I will do, I have to call it here. If user is passing input is equal to 1. So here I have to call this particular method. So I'll just write self dot create pin. Okay, because I want to call this method, and this method is present inside my ATM class. That's why I'm calling a self. Okay, self dot create pin. Now see, if I execute the program, now if I execute the program, now let's see whether it's working or not. I will initialize the object. Now see, it is asking for the input. Press 1 to create a pin. I'll give 1. Now if I hit enter, now it is asking enter your pin. Let's say I'll give 1 2 3 1 2 3 4. Now if I hit enter, now it is asking for the balance. Let's say I will give 2,000 rupees. Now if I hit enter, see, my pin is created successfully. That means it is working fine. Okay, it is working fine. But what I want, see, after creating the pin, again it will give me the menu. Okay, again it will give me the menu, like what I want to do. I want to change the pin, I want to check the balance, I want to withdraw, or I want to exit. Okay, so for this what I can do, see, after creating the pin, again I will launch the menu. Okay, so for this I'm going to call this particular function here. So self dot menu. Okay, so inside this particular function I'm calling my menu function. Okay, menu method. Okay, this method actually I'm calling here. Okay, now see what will happen if I execute the program again. Now it is asking for the input. I will give 1. That means I want to create a pin. Now let's give a pin 1 2 3. Now let's give it the value, let's say 1000 rupees. And if I hit enter, now again it is giving me the menu. You can see, hi, how are you, how I can help you. Now you can give any other option. Okay, let's say you want to create a let's say you want to change the pin, or let's say you want to check the balance, you want to withdraw, you can give it here. Let's say I'll give E. That means it will exit my application. Okay, that's the idea. So this particular function is working fine. Okay, this particular method is working fine. Now let's try to create the next method, which is nothing but change pin. Let's say user wants to change his pin, so he can also change it. So what I will do, I will again come here, and again I will take another method called change_pin. Again I will define self. So see, if I want to change my pin, so first of all it will ask my old pin, like my current pin. Okay, because if you want to change any kinds of, let's say, password, first of all it will ask for the current password. That means your old password. Okay, and if you are able to give the correct password, then it will let you change your password. So here what I will do, I will just take a input from the user. I'll just write old pin is equal to here I'll just take an input, enter your old pin. Okay, enter your old pin. Then I'll just write a condition, if my old pin, okay, old_pin is equal self.pin. That means your old pin is already saved inside this variable. Okay, this variable, it is already saved. And if it is matching, okay, if your current pin, it is matching, so what I will do, I will let him to change this password. So I'll just write enter your new password. I'll just write new pin is equal to input, and once new pin is entered, I'll just try to store in my I'll just try to update my old pin. Okay, so you can see my old pin I have updated with the new pin, and once it is done, I'll just give a message, pin changed successfully. Now again I'll launch my menu. Okay, because menu would be launched every time. Okay, that's the idea. Now in the else condition, I'll give a message invalid pin, and again I will launch the menu. Okay, this is the idea. Now let me check whether it's working fine or not. Again I will execute the program. Now see, it is asking for what you want to do. I want to, let's say, create a pin. Now it is asking for my pin. I will give 1 to 3, and it is asking for the balance, let's say 10,000 rupees, or let's say 20,000 rupees. And now see, it is again giving me the menu. Then now I want to change the pin, so I'll give, let's say, see, if you want to change the pin, you have to go to the 2 option, press 2 to change the pin. So I'll give 2. Okay, it has executed because okay, so I haven't called this particular function. See, whenever you are giving 2 now, I have to call this function as well. So here I'll just write self dot change pin. Okay, now it will work. First of all, I will create a pin 1, enter the pin 1 2 3, enter the balance, let's say 20,000 rupees. Now pin has created. Now I want to change the pin. I will give 2. Now it is asking your old pin, let's say 1 2 3, my old pin. Now if I hit enter, now it is telling enter your new pin. Let's say I'll give 2 3 4. Now if I hit enter, see, pin changed successfully. That means everything is working fine, and again it is giving me the menu. Okay, now simply I'll escape, press escape button from the keyboard. It will stop the execution. Fine. Then the next function I'll be creating check balance. Okay, if I want to check the balance, so how I can do it. So for this, again I'm going to create a method, check_balance. So if I want to check my balance, first of all I have to give my pin. Okay, I think you know. So I'll just take the user pin, user_pin. I'll take the input, enter your pin. Okay. Then first of all I will match the pin whether it is correct or not. I'll just write if user_pin is equal to self dot pin. That means it is matching with my actual pin. Then what I will do, I will print the balance. Okay, so print, I'll take a f string. Inside that I'll just write your balance is dot balance. Okay, balance. So here is the balance. Okay, so I think you know we have I think you know we already took one variable. Okay, I think you know we already taken one class variable balance. Okay, so this particular balance I'm printing here. And if this password is wrong, I'll just write in the else condition, I'll just write your pin is incorrect. Your pin is, let's say, incorrect. Please try again. Okay, now after that I will start the menu again. So self dot menu. Okay, this is the idea. Now let's test it whether it's working or not. I will execute the program. Now first of all I will create a pin. I'll give 1, give the pin 123, and I will also enter the balance, let's say 10,000 rupees. Okay, now see, my pin is created and I also entered my balance. Now I want to check the balance, let's say, so I'll give 3. Okay, 3 to check the balance. So I'll give 3. Now see, it is okay. So again, I have to call, guys. I just did the mistake. So after elif, I have to call it. So self dot check balance. Okay, now it should work. Now let me execute. Now I'll create pin 123, give the balance, let's say 10,000 rupees, and it is created. Now I want to check the balance, let's say 3. That is asking the pin, let's say 123. If I'm giving correct password, it will show me my current balance. Okay, current balance is 10,000. Okay, I hope you got it. Now if you want to change the pin, what you can do, you can go to the 2 option. Okay, now I don't want to do anything. I'll just simply press the escape button to exit my application. Okay, so now the last function will be creating the last method. It is nothing but withdraw. Okay, so let's create this particular withdraw. See, in withdraw, what happens? Let's say you want to let's say withdraw some money. So for this, I'm going to create a method. So I'll just take a method called withdraw. I'm going to name it as withdraw balance. So again, I will define the self. First of all, if you want to withdraw something, I will check your pin. I'll just take input. So I can copy this line. So I can copy this line here and I will paste it. First of all, I will take the pin, and then again I will match this particular pin. If my user pin and my self.pin it is matching, okay, then what I will do, I will allow to withdraw. Okay, withdraw. As of now, I'll do the pass operation. Else what I will do, I'll just print a message. Your pin is incorrect and please try again. Then I will again launch my menu. Okay, menu option. Now if pin is correct, what I have to do, first of all, I will take another input, like how much they want to withdraw. Okay, so I'll just take a variable amount and I'll take an input. So input, I'll just write enter the amount. Then I will check another condition. If the amount, okay, if the amount is less than and equal, okay, less than and equal my self.balance, okay, self.balance, okay, then I will let him to withdraw the money. Because what will happen, let's say, otherwise what will happen, let's say you in your account you have, let's say 10,000 rupees, okay, 10,000 rupees, and now let's say you want to withdraw 20,000 rupees, okay. So it is not possible because you have actually 10,000, okay, 10,000 rupees in your account, but you want to withdraw 20,000, okay, it's not possible. That's why I'm checking this condition. If your amount is less than, okay, less than equal to self.balance, that means your correct balance, okay, then you will be able to withdraw the money. Otherwise you won't be able to do. So here I'll just write self.balance is equal to self, okay, self.balance minus the amount, okay. That means the amount actually he is giving, I'm just doing the subtraction operation with my main account, okay. That means my main balance, that's it. Then simply I'll give a message. You have withdrawn this much of amount and your new balance is self.balance. That means after doing the subtraction operation, whatever balance actually you have left, okay, this should be my current balance right now. All right, I think it is fine now. Now let me execute the program and let me check whether everything is working fine or not. I will execute the program and I will initialize the object. And now it is asking the menu. Let's say I will first of all create the pin. I'll give 1. Let's create the pin 123. Now let's enter the balance. Let's say 10,000 rupees. Now let's say I want to check the balance. So I'll give 3. Now enter the pin 123. And you can see my balance is 10,000. Now let's say I want to withdraw. Okay, I want to withdraw some money. And if you want to withdraw, you have to give 4. Okay, 4 to withdraw. So I'll give 4. But it won't be working. Okay, why? Because I haven't called it here. So you have to call it here. Okay, so let me call withdraw balance. Now it should work. Now let me execute. Now let's create the pin 123 balance. Let's say 10,000 rupees. Done. Now let's say I want to check. I'll give the 3 here. Enter the pin 123. Now see my balance is 10,000. Okay. Now let's say I want to withdraw money. So I'll give 4 here. Now let's say enter your pin 123. And the amount, let's say I want to withdraw 5,000 rupees. Okay, 5,000. Now if I hit enter, okay, it is giving me one error. Not supported between string and integer. Okay, so I'm getting this error because of this amount. Okay, see the amount actually I'm taking as input, it's a string type. So I have to also convert is a integer. Okay, integer type I have to take. Now it should work. Now let me execute the application. Now let's create the pin 1 2 3. Balance is, let's say, 10,000 rupees. Now I'll check the amount, let's say 3 1. I'll give 1 2 3 my pin. Now it is giving me 10,000. You have your current balance. Now let's say I want to withdraw. I'll give 4. Now enter your pin 1 2 3 and withdraw, let's say 5,000 rupees. Now if I hit enter, now see it is giving me the you have withdrawn 5,000 and your current balance is 5,000 rupees. Okay, that means everything is working fine. But here you can give another condition. If let's say amount is more than your current balance, you can give a condition here, else you can just write print insufficient balance. Okay, so now let me again execute and let me show you. Let's say I want to create a pin 1 1 2 3, balance let's say 10,000 rupees. Done. Now let's say I want to withdraw, so I'll give 4 and let's say the pin 1 2 3. Let's say the amount I want to withdraw, let's say 3,000. If I hit enter, see it is giving me you have withdrawn 3,000 and your current price is 7,000. Okay, that means it's working fine. Now let me stop the execution. So now see, with the help of OOP concept, beautifully we created this particular application. Okay, beautifully we created the application. We just written a, so here we defined a class. Inside the class, actually I have taken the class variable, that means the data property, and I have also taken the function property. Different function I have added. Okay, now let's say your company is telling you I need a ATM machine for the ICICI bank and for the SBI bank. So then what you will do, you will just try to copy, okay, and you'll take a cell and just simply change the name of the class. Let's say this is the ATM machine for ICICI bank. Okay, this for ICICI bank, and I also need another, let's say ATM for SBI, State Bank of India. Let's say I'll give ATM machine for SB, okay, SBI. Now see what is happening in ATM machine, all the functionality will remain same, whether it can be SBI bank, whether it can be ICICI bank, okay, or any other bank, functionality is same, only name is changing. Okay, only name is changing. Okay, now see, beautifully with the help of OOP concept, I'm able to create different entity for the ICICI bank as well, for the SBI bank as well. Okay, now let's say I want to call SBI bank, let's say ATM machine. So what I will do, simply I'll go below, I'll execute the code. Now here I'll define the object. Let's say I want to call the SBI bank. Okay, SBI bank. I'll define an object. Now I will call ATM SBI. Okay, now I'll initialize the object. Now see if I execute the program. Now see, it is giving me SBI bank functionality. Okay, now if I stop the execution, now let's say you want to access ICICI bank. Okay, so what you can do, simply take another cell and define another object. Let's say ICICI bank is equal to ATM ICICI bank. Now define the object. Okay, now see if I execute the program, it is giving me the function related ICICI bank. So that's why I told you this OOP concept is very powerful, and with the help of that you can easily create like very big application. You can simply write a class. Inside the class you can define different method. Okay, different method and data property, and you can create your application. Now see, you can create as much as entity you can create 10,000 bank ATM machine, okay, with the same functionality. Okay, there won't be any kinds of function conflict, although you are using the same function everywhere, but it won't be getting conflict because it's a separate class. Okay, it's a separate class. Okay, it's present in a separate class. That is the idea. Okay, so this is the actually way we can define a class inside object-oriented programming or inside Python. Okay, now see if I just draw the diagram of this particular class. See, sometimes in interview actually we'll get this kinds of diagram. So let's say, so here let me show you how this class diagram will look like. So you will get this kinds of box. So here the first thing would be written your class name. So the class name we created called ATM machine. Okay, ATM machine. Let's say this is the name of the class. And the second thing you define the data property. Data property wise, I have taken pin and I have taken balance. Okay, balance. And the third thing, you have taken the functional property. Okay, So function property wise, I think you remember we have taken menu, then we have taken create pin, we have taken, let's say, change pin, we have taken check balance, and we have taken withdraw. Okay, withdraw. So this is how actually your class diagram look like. Class diagram. Okay, diagram looks like. So in interview, you may get these kinds of actually diagram, and they will give you this kinds of diagram, and they will tell you what is this particular property, what is this particular property. That time actually you have to answer. So this is called actually name. Okay, name of the class. This is called actually data property, and this is called actually function property. Okay, function property of a class. I hope it is clear. Okay, whenever you are designing any sort of application, first of all design this particular diagram, like what are the things you are going to implement, okay, in this inside this particular class, like how many data you will be taking, how many function you will be taking, everything you can define. Then you can start the implementation, so it would be easy for you to implement that time, because you have the reference right now. So this is my, let's say, ATM machine. Inside that I need two data property, but pin and balance, and I need 1 2 3 4 5, okay, 5 function property, and I'll be implementing one by one all of them. Okay, this is the idea. So I hope you got it, guys, how to use this OP concept, okay, to create any kinds of project, any kinds of real world application, and how it is helping us, okay, to handle our code base. See, although I have taken different bank, okay, although I have taken different ATM, see, ICICI bank, then SBI bank, okay, and inside that I'm using the same functionality, but it is separated because of this particular class concept, because it is a separate class and this is a separate class. Okay, so that's how we can use OP concept. So yes, this is all about from this particular video. In the next video we'll be learning some more advanced topic. So thanks for watching, and I will see you next time. Hi guys, welcome back. So in this video I'll try to discuss one very quick topic, because many of the people will have the confusion on this particular topic. What is the difference between method and function? See, as I already told you, the function actually we usually write inside a class. This is called method. Okay, this is called method. And how to identify a method? You will see this particular self keyword. Okay, you will see this particular self keyword everywhere. And what is function? Function is nothing but you define a function outside of a class. That means you will be writing individually. Okay, this is called actually function. And you can see function doesn't have any kinds of self keyword. Now previously we have learned the functional programming, and we had written different function, I think, remember. And in our previous video we have learned how to create a class inside Python, and inside a class how to mention different function. Okay, so sometimes actually people will call this thing as a function, but if you call it in an actual way, you have to call as a method, because in interview they might ask actually this is a function or method. That time if you just tell this is a function, so you will be giving a wrong answer, because whenever you will be working in the, let's say, industry, so you have to be professional. So in industry they will be calling these are the things as a method, not a function. Okay, so again it's a quick topic, but I just wanted to let you know these are the thing, because many people have the confusion. Okay, that's why I told you this is a method. Function you write individually, this is called function. Okay, I hope it is clear. Now let me give you one question. Just try to let me know in the comment. Let's see, if I just write L is equal to, let's say, 1 2 3, and if I just write length of L, and if I just write L dot append, okay, L dot append, let's say 6. Now just let me know here which is the function and which one is the method. Just do the comment in the comment section. I'm not going to tell you the answer. Just let me know which one is the function and which one is the method. So thanks for watching. Hi everyone. In this video, I'll show you how we can create a class diagram. See, class diagram is super important concept inside interview. So if you attempt any kinds of interview, you will see this kinds of diagram. So whenever you are working with OP, that means object oriented programming, you also need to know how to create a diagram of that particular class. Let's say previously I have created one class, I think, remember, called ATM machine. Now if I want to represent this particular class in a diagram, how to do it? See, if I open up my Blackboard, so let me show you the diagram, how you can write. I think I already showed you in my previous video as well, like how to create a diagram, but let me discuss in detail. See, first of all, you will see these kinds of actually box. So here you will have 3 sections actually. So this is the first section, this is the second section, and this is the third section. So the first section, we call it as class name. Okay, class name. The second section, we call it data property. Okay, data property. And the third section we call it methods. Okay, methods or function. We'll be calling as a function because again it's a class concept, so you have to call as a method. Okay, property. So here you will see this 3 block. Now in the first block you have to write the class name. Let's say I have created this ATM machine, right? So it was a ATM machine. The name of the class I have created ATM machine, and inside that data property wise I had taken actually 2 data property, I think, remember, called pin and balance. So pin and balance. Okay, pin and balance. And how many function, that means method property was there? You can see menu was there, then create pin was there, change pin was there, check balance is there, withdraw is there. So let me write down all the method one by one. So menu was there, then we had create pin, we had change pin, we had check balance, then we have withdraw. I think this 5 functionality I had. Okay, so this is called actually class diagram. Why I'm telling you? Because whenever you will be attempting any kinds of interview, you will see these kinds of diagram. They may give you this kinds of question, and this diagram also helps us to write our class in a very efficient way. First of all, just try to create a diagram. If you're solving any kinds of problem statement, if you're creating any kinds of software, okay, first of all try to create a diagram. Inside diagram, first of all try to mention how many data property we'll be using, how many methods property we'll be using, then try to start the coding. Okay, it will be easy for you. See, sometimes actually we'll see this kinds of minus and plus symbol, okay, before this particular data property as well as the method property. Okay, so what does it mean of this particular plus and minus? See, I'm going to discuss these things in detail, okay, going forward, but as of now just try to consider minus means this is a private property. Okay, it's a private property or private data or private variable you can talk about, and plus means it's a public one. Okay, it's a public property. Okay, so there is a concept called private and public inside object oriented programming. That means we can define private variable and private method. So whenever you see this kinds of minus symbol, that means it's a private property, that means private data. Okay, and whenever you see the plus, this means that means it's a public one. See, the code actually we had written, so there I was not using any private property. Everything was actually my public property. Okay, so we'll be discussing this private property as well, how to define. Okay, for this we'll be using one amazing concept inside Python. I will be discussing this thing in detail. Okay, so yes, this is all about our class diagram. I hope you got it. So thanks for watching. Hi everyone, welcome back. In this video, we'll try to discuss what is magic methods or dunder methods actually inside object-oriented programming. See, magic methods and dunder methods both are same. Someone will call actually magic methods, someone will call actually dunder method. So if you see this kinds of actually what dunder method, that means they're trying to tell this is a magic methods only. So you don't need to confuse like magic method is a different, dunder method is a different. Okay, both are same at the end. Someone will call as a magic method, someone will call as a dunder method. So how to identify magic methods and dunder methods? See, if you see these kinds of syntax underscore, let's say method name, okay, method name and underscore, okay, underscore. So this is actually our magic methods. Now I think you remember we already used one magic method in our let's say program. I think remember we created one ATM machine, and inside that I created one constructor. So constructor is nothing but it's a special function. That means it is called a magic function. You can also call it as a dunder function. Okay, you can also call it as a dunder method. Got it? So I can copy this example, and here let me just write it. Let's say I'll create a class called temp. Okay, inside that I'm going to mention this particular magic methods. Okay, now let's say if I print something inside that, let's say hello world. Okay, now see if I execute the program, and now if I initialize my object of temp, now see if I execute the program, this particular function will automatically call, because as I already told you, constructor will be automatically called. Okay, you don't need to call it separately. So this is why we call it as a magic methods or dunder method. I just wanted to ask you one question. why this magic method is super important. Okay, why this magic method is super important whenever you are creating any kinds of software. So, okay, software application, because we have learned in our ATM machine, let's say whenever I define different methods, okay, different methods, you can see create pin, menu, change pin. So unless and until actually I was not calling these are the function, okay, unless and until I am not calling these are the method, here you can see it was not giving me any kinds of output, because we know that if I am defining any kinds of function, any kinds of method, unless and until you are not calling it, it won't be giving any kinds of output. But constructor is a different thing. You don't need to call the constructor. It will automatically execute once you define your object. Okay, it will automatically execute because it's a magic method or it's a dunder method. Fine. Why it is so important in the software development? Because see, whenever you'll be like developing software, in a software actually, you will be giving the control to the user. Let's say here, this is my ATM machine, and just try to consider this menu, then just try to consider this menu, then create pin, then change pin. So these are the things as a button. Okay, let's say check balance is the button, change pin is the button, create pin is the button, menu is the button. Let's say if user is pressing the button, then they are getting this particular functionality. Okay, because here I told you na, if user is giving 1, then that time actually create pin is working. If user is giving 2, that time actually change pin is working. That means I need a user input. Okay, I'm leaving to the user. If user is putting anything, then I'm like showing the functionality of my application. Okay, so this is the user dependent. Okay, this is the user dependent. And here I have created another function called constructor, that means magic method. So inside that I was defining the data, okay, data property, and it was automatically getting installed. Okay, it was automatically getting installed. I hope you got it. That means whenever I'm designing any kinds of software, it will have two kinds of, let's say, control. One is like the user control, and there is like self control. Let's say you are creating a Facebook application, and whenever, let's say, user will open the Facebook. Okay, Facebook, first of all, what you have to do, you have to connect with the database, and that time you don't need to give the control to the user. Let's say press the button, then I will connect to the database. Not like that. It will automatically connect the database, and whatever database connection code you will be writing, you have to write inside a magic method. That means it will automatically execute it, and it will automatically connect to the database. Okay, then you will be giving the user actually, let's say, control. Let's say just logging with your account, then create a profile, then post something in the Facebook. Okay, so whenever we let's say design any kinds of software, there will be two kinds of control. One is like the user control, one is the self control. That means it will automatically execute, okay, whenever user will open that particular software. That's why this dunder method or magic method is super important. So we have to use it in our actually software. Okay, software actually code. So that's why I just wanted to let you know these magic methods and dunder methods actually are there. This is the concept inside OP. Now I think there won't be any kinds of confusion. Yes, this is all about from this particular video. Thanks for watching. Hi guys, welcome back. So in this video, I'll try to discuss concept of self inside OP. I think you saw I was using this particular keyword self. Okay, so everywhere you can see I was using this particular self keyword. So maybe you will have the question like why you were using this particular self, okay, everywhere. I already told you what is self exactly. Self is nothing but it is pointing the same actually class, okay, class object. You can see ATM machine is a class. So whenever I'm writing the self, that means it is trying to locate that particular class only. So it is trying to say this is actually ATM class property, okay, ATM machine class property. So whatever actually I'm writing this particular self, that means this particular function or method, whatever actually you are writing, it is the property of that particular ATM machine because it is locating the ATM machine class, okay, this particular class only. So let me prove it whether whatever things I'm telling it's correct or not. So for this, what I will do, I'll just simply just write one print statement. So I'll just print the ID of, okay, ID of, let's say, self. As of now, I'm not going to run my like ATM machine menu, so I'll just try to comment this line. And now see if I execute this particular code. See, this is the same class we have written in our previous video. Now let me initialize the object, okay, of the ATM machine. Now see if I execute, it will print the ID of that particular self. Okay, now you can see this is the ID of the self in the memory. Okay, see, this is the ID of the self in the memory. Now see if I just write ID of object, okay, ID of object, this particular object in the memory. Now if I execute, see, it is printing the same ID. Okay, that means whatever things I told you, this self is locating to the ATM machine object. That means a self is the object of ATM machine. Okay, wherever your ATM machine is present, it is locating in the same direction. It is locating in the same memory location. Okay, I hope it is clear. So inside object oriented programming, there is a golden rule you have to always remember. So inside OP, inside a class, whatever property actually we are writing, it can only access the object of this particular class. Okay, the object of this particular class. See what I told you. Let me show you one demo. Let's say this is the ATM machine class and I have created an object on top of it. Okay, now if I just write, let's say obj, okay, obj dot. See, if I just press dot, you will be able to see whatever things I have inside this particular class. Let's say whatever data, like attribute. Okay, you can see these are the attribute, that means class variable, balance. Then these are my actually function. These are my method, actually change pin, check balance, create pin, menu. Okay, everything is visible because these are the property are present inside my ATM machine class. And here I'm also defining the object. Okay, here I'm also defining the object. That means this is the property of ATM machine class. This is the property of ATM machine class. Okay, everywhere I'm writing this particular self. So self will tell this is the property of ATM class. Okay, now see, if I just remove this particular self from here. Okay, if I just remove this particular self from here, create pin. Now see, if I execute this particular code, see, it will throw me one error. Now create pin is not the property of ATM machine class because you haven't mentioned, okay, you haven't mentioned this particular object. You haven't mentioned this particular object, ATM machine object. And if you want to make it property of the ATM machine class, what you have to do, you have to use this particular self. Now self will tell, okay, so this is the property of ATM machine class. That is the idea. Okay, so that's why we have to use this particular self. Okay, self keyword everywhere. Okay, self keyword everywhere. Self means this class itself. Okay, this class itself called self. That means whatever changes you will be doing the ATM machine class, everything will reflect inside the self as well. And there is another concept. Let's say inside this particular class I'm having different method. Let's say create pin, menu, change pin, right? Now if I want to communicate, let's say one method with another method, let's say here I was doing the communication, I think, remember. So here I was calling this particular menu, okay, menu method inside create pin. Okay, how it is able to communicate? Because of this self keyword. Okay, because I'm calling the object of the ATM machine, then I'm calling the menu. Now see, if I call like that, it won't be working. Okay, it won't be working. Now see, menu is not there inside this particular class. Menu is not there inside this particular class. Like, what is menu here? It's not a property of ATM machine class right now. Okay, so that's why you have to use this particular self keyword every time. Self will tell you this is the property of, so this menu is the property of ATM machine class. Okay, now with the help of that I can easily communicate with another function. Okay, inside a function. This is the idea. So yes, that is why actually we use this particular self keyword inside this particular OP and inside this particular class. Okay, whenever I define any kinds of class, and inside it, whenever we define any kinds of, let's say class variable or let's say method, we define this self keyword every time. Okay, that's the idea. So yes, this is all about from this particular video. Thanks for watching. Hi everyone, welcome to this video. In this video, I'll show you how object can access attributes inside OOP. So for this, let me just write one example. So what I will do, I'll just write a class and the class name, let's say person. Okay, person is the class name. Inside that, I'm going to create a constructor. That means the magic methods, I think you know. So here I have taken a constructor and I have defined self here because this is the constructor of the person class. That's why I have to mention the self here. So here I'm going to show you one very interesting concept inside OP. See, you can also take any kinds of, let's say, parameter as an input in a class. It is also possible. Like previously, we learned like how we can take the parameter as an input in a function. Inside class also it is possible. So whenever you are defining any kinds of constructor, inside the constructor, in this particular function, you have to take this particular parameter. So let's say I want to take two parameter called name and country. Okay, let's say I need this two parameter. Now what I will do, I will just define these are the class variable. So I'll just take variable called self.name, and inside name I'm going to store the name. Whatever name actually user is giving, I'm going to store inside this particular variable. Fine. Then the next variable I'm going to create called country. Okay, country is equal to country. Okay, now inside this particular class I'm going to create a method and I'm going to name it as greeting. Okay, greeting. So again, it's a property of person class, so I have to give the self here. And inside this particular method I'm going to write one small logic. So I'll just write if the self, okay, self dot country is equal India. Okay, if it is India, so it will greet me like that. It will greet me like that. Print ref string. Then I'll just tell namaste self.name. Okay, whatever name user is passing, so it will do the greet message, okay, to this particular name. That's it. Else I'll just write print hello self.name. Okay, that means if your country is India, it will tell you namaste, that particular name, the name actually you are giving as an input. And if you are not from India, so it will tell you hello. So it's a like very basic method I've just written. Okay, it is just doing the greeting operation. That's it. Now if I execute the code, it's working fine. Now let's define the object of this particular class. So I'll just write p is equal to person. Okay, person is my class, and it takes actually two input. One is the name, another is the country. So let me give the name. So let's say name, I'll give Puppy, and let's say country, I'll give India. Now if I execute, see, it's working fine. Okay, now if you just write p dot, okay, if you just write p dot and wait, you will see all the actually attribute methods, everything is visible. So inside this particular, let's say class, I'm having country attribute, then name attribute. So these are the attribute. Actually you can see these are the attribute. So this is called class variable, this is called attribute also. You can either call attribute, either call class variable. Okay, both can be called. So that's how actually we can access any kinds of attribute in a class with the help of that particular object of that particular class. Okay, this is the idea. Now see, if I just write p dot, it will suggest me all the attribute and the method actually I'm having in this particular class. Now let's say I want to execute this method called greeting. Okay, I'll just initialize this method, and now if I execute, see, it will give me namaste Bappi, because the country is India right now. Now let's see if I give any other country. Let's see if I give US. Okay, USA. Now see, if I execute, it will tell me hello Bappi. Okay, now we can also access the attribute. So let's say if I just write p dot name, and now if I execute, so it will give me Bappi. Okay, you can also access the country, it is also possible. So it will give you USA. Okay, so that's how with the help of object you can access any kinds of attribute inside a class. Okay, it is possible. Now let's say if I just write p dot gender. Okay, p dot gender. Now just let me know whether this will work or not. Just try to see this class. Is there any gender attribute you can see? No, it is not there. Now whenever I will execute the code, it will throw me one error. It will tell me person object has no attribute gender. And the error actually I'm getting, this is the attribute error, because this is the attribute I'm trying to access. This is not a method actually. Okay, if it is a method, you have to give the parenthesis. Okay, you can see this is the method, but the things actually we are accessing, this is the attribute. Okay, this is the attribute. Okay, and gender is also attribute I'm looking for, but this gender is not present inside this particular class. That's why it's telling attribute error, person object has no attribute gender. Now see, inside Python OP, we can do one amazing thing. Let me show you. See, if we just write p dot gender, okay, p dot gender is equal to, let's say male. Okay, male. Now if I execute the program, what will happen? Just pause the video and let me know. See, if I execute the program, it will work fine. Now if I'm trying to access, okay, if I'm trying to access right now this particular gender, now see, it will give me male. Okay, that means what is happening, you can also create the attribute, okay, outside of the class. It's not like that you only need to create the attribute inside the class. Let's say once you define some attribute inside a class, okay, it's not like that you can't create later on. You can create it. So easily you can create another attribute, okay, outside from the class also. So this functionality is available inside Python OP. Okay, and this is like very interesting concept, because going forward, let's say whenever you will be implementing different projects, so let's say there might be a possibility you have to create some more attributes, okay, after a creation of that particular class. That means you will be creating outside of that particular class. Okay, so that's why this concept is super important, you have to know. So not only one attribute, we can create some more attribute. Let's say if I give p dot age is equal to, let's say 23. Now if I execute, it will work. Now if I just write p dot age, now see, it will give me 23. That means you can create as much as attribute in this class itself. Okay, there won't be any kinds of issue. So yes, this was a quick topic. I just wanted to let you know inside OP in Python, because many people will have the confusion can I create any kinds of attribute outside of the class or not? It is possible or not? Yes, it is possible, and that's how actually we can do it. Okay, yeah. So I hope guys it is clear. So thanks for watching, and I will see you next time. Hi everyone, welcome back. In this video, we'll try to understand another topic called reference variable inside object-oriented programming. See, for this, I'm going to use the same example. I'll just copy this particular class, and here I'm going to paste it. Fine. Now, instead of taking the input, what I can do, I can directly mention these are the variable. Okay, I can hard code these are the variable. I'll just give let's say name is equal to Bappi, and let's say country is equal to India. Now let me create an object. So P is equal to person. Now if I execute, see, it's working fine. Now here one thing I just wanted to show you. See, if I just print the ID of this P, that means this object. So you'll see this particular ID. Okay, this is the ID. Now if I just write, let's say Q is equal to P. And now if I print the ID of key Q, okay. Now just pause the video and let me know, okay, what will be the output. See, if I execute, it will give me the same ID. That means what is happening whenever, let's say, you are creating an object of a class. Okay, whenever you are creating an object of a class, this object is pointing to the same location of this particular class. So here person is a class, and you created an object called P, and you stored this person class inside P. That means P is locating to the person, okay, person object itself, right? And whenever you return Q is equal to P, that means Q is also pointing to the P, okay? And P means this is the person. That means it is pointing to the same location, okay? It is pointing to the same location. That is why whenever I'm printing the ID of P and whenever I'm printing the ID of Q, both are same, okay? There is no chance. Now let me show you one thing. So let's say if I just write like that, let's say print p.name, okay, p.name, and if I just write, let's say q.name, okay. Now if I execute, see what will be the output, because currently in my class you can see Bappi is stored inside the name, and that is why whenever I'm calling p.name, it is giving me Bappi, and again whenever I'm calling q.name, it is giving me Bappi, because it is pointing to the same location. Now let's see if I write like that. Let's say I'll just write q.name is equal to, let's say I'll give Alex. Now see, if I execute the program, it will work fine. Now if I again print it, okay, p.name and q.name, what will be the output? Let me know. See, if I execute, now it will become Alex, because what is happening? You are only changing inside Q object. You are only changing inside Q object, but it is reflecting in the P object as well. Why? Because it is pointing to the same location. Okay, you can see it is pointing to the same location. That means whatever changes you will be doing inside just one object, it will reflect to all the objects. Okay, this is called actually a reference variable. That means it is referring to the same object. Okay, same ID in the memory location. Okay, because again it's a super important concept. You might get this question in the interview, so that's why I showed you. That's why actually things are working fine. So yes, this is all about from this particular video. Thank you so much, and I will see you next time. Hello everyone. In this video, I'll show you how you can pass the class object as a reference. So for this, let me take one example. So here I'm going to use the same class I had written previously, and this class will take two parameters called name and gender. Okay. So let's say this is my constructor I have defined, and it is inside the class. Now what I will do outside of the class, okay, see, it is outside. I'm writing outside of the class. Okay, outside of class. So here I'm going to write a function. So the function name is, let's say, greeting. Okay, greeting. And here I don't need to pass the self because it's outside of the class. Okay, it's a function, not a method. Now this particular function will return, hi, my name is, I am dash. Okay. Now what will happen? This particular function will take one input, which is nothing but a class object. So let me give the object name. Let's say the object name is person. Fine. So this is the parameter this function will take. Now inside that I'm going to write person dot name, and I'll write person dot gender. Okay, that's it. Now if I execute the program, see, it is working fine. Now let me first of all initialize the class object. So I'll initialize it here. Let's say P is my person object, and it will take two input. The name, let's say name is Bappy, and the gender, let's say male. Now see, if I execute the program, it is working fine. Now see, I'm going to call this function right now. So I'll call greeting. And what greeting takes? Greeting takes one class object. You can see it takes one class object. Now I'll pass this class object inside this function. Now see, if I execute the program, it will show me this message. Hi, my name is Bappy and I'm a male. That means what is happening? You can pass this class object as a reference to a function. Okay. Like previously we learned like we can also pass like list object, tuple object, integer objects, okay, as a reference to a function. Like different data type we can pass as a reference to a function. So in OP also we can create a class, and that particular class object we can pass as a reference into a function. It is possible here. Now another thing you can do, you can also return one specific class object from a function. It is also possible. So for this I'll do a small modification here. So here I'm going to write, let's say P1, and I'm going to call this class, okay, class object person, and inside that I'm going to give two input. Let's say name is Alex and is male. Okay, now I'll simply return this P1. Okay, P1 is what is P1? P1 is a class object. Okay, it's a class object. Now here I'm returning from a function. Now if I execute, now first of all I need to initialize the class. Then if I execute this function, what is returning? It is returning one object called P1. Now I will store in a variable. Let's say I will store in a variable called A. Now if I execute, see, it is printing this statement. Now if I just write, let's say A dot name, so it will give me Alex. And if I just write A dot gender, it will give me male. Okay, why? Because here I was returning this object. Okay, here I was returning this class object, and that is why I'm able to access the attribute of that particular object. Okay, this is the idea. So I hope this is clear, okay, how things are working. So that's how we can pass any kinds of class object as a reference into a function. Okay, it is possible inside OOP. So yes, this is all from this video. I hope you liked it. Thank you so much. Hello guys. In our previous video, I showed you how we can pass any class object as a reference to a function. In this video, I'll show you another things which is very important. What I have done here, I have taken the same example, this person class, and here I have defined a function outside of that class. As of now, I haven't written something in the function. Now let me just write one statement, and let me ask you one question. So let's say, if I just write like that, let's say whatever person object actually I'm getting, that means my class object. So I'll just do a small modification here. I'll just take the person.name is equal to, let's say I'll just write Alex here. Okay, so this is the small modification. Now I'll just simply return the person right now. Okay, after changing this name, I'm just returning the person object again. This is what actually I'm doing inside this function. Now if I execute the program, it's working fine. Now first of all, I will initialize my class, and it takes two input, name and gender. I'm passing the name and gender. And now if I print the ID of P, you will see this is the ID of P. Now I'll call this function right now. So greeting. Let's say I will store in a variable called A. Okay, greeting, and it takes your person object. So I can pass P here, right? Now let me initialize it. Now see, if I just write A dot name, now see, it is giving me Alex. And if I call P dot name also, you'll see it will give me the same name, because it was referring in the same memory location. I already told you, if you do changes in one object, it will reflect in all the objects. Okay, that is the idea. Now see, if I print the ID, okay, if I print the ID of A, you'll see that this is the same ID. This is the same ID I was getting from the P. Okay, same ID, 52. Okay, that means you can consider this object we have defined, this class we have defined, it's a mutable. Okay, it's a mutable data type. That means we have learned list, sets, and dictionary. So there actually I was doing the changes. What is mutable? Mutable means you can change. Okay, you can change something there. You can add something, you can edit something, everything is possible. And it will perform all the operation in the original object itself. Okay, it won't be creating any copy of the object. If it is creating a copy of the object, that means it's not a mutable, it's a immutable. I think string you saw, right? Whenever I was performing any kinds of operation, it was creating a different object that time. Fine. So this question actually interviewer asked actually whatever class actually you are defining, whether it's a mutable or immutable. Okay, I think you saw it's a mutable or immutable. It's a mutable one because here I was doing the changes, still I was getting the same memory location. That means same ID. Okay, that is the idea. So yes, this was a quick topic. Thank you so much. Hi everyone. In this video, we'll try to discuss what is instance variable inside object-oriented programming. See, instance variable is a very special variable and powerful variable that can store different data in the same variable for the different object. See what I told you, let me show you one example. I think then this part would be more clear. Let's say this is a class I have created called person, and inside that I have created a constructor, and this will take two parameter, name and country. Okay, name and country, and inside that I have just written a class variable. So whatever variable you have defined here, it is also called as instance variable inside object-oriented programming. So let me show you one example. Let's say this is the person class I created. Now let's say I will create an object called P1. Okay, P1, and this is my object of person class, and it will take to input the name. Let's say name is Bappy, and it will take the country. Let's say country is UK. Fine. Now if I execute the program, see, it has created this particular object. Now if I again write, let's say P2 is equal to person, that means I'm creating another object of the person class. And now I'm passing, let's say name is equal to Alex and country is equal to, let's say, USA. Fine. Now let me create this object again. Now let's say I'll create another object called P3 of the person class. And now inside this, I'll pass one name, let's say Ahmed, and the country, let's say India. Okay, India. Now see, here I created three different objects. Okay, three different objects. Let me show you. Now these are the separate object. Now let me show you. So if I print the ID of all the object, P1, P2 and P3. Now see if I execute. So this is the ID of P1, this is the ID of P2, and this is the ID of P3. So they are actually different object. Now let's see if I just write P1, okay, dot name, it will give me Bappy. Now if I just write P2 dot name, it will give me Alex. Now if I just write P3 dot name, it will give me Ahmed. Okay, that means what is happening? See, although I have taken the same variable, okay, same variable here, but I can store different value inside this particular variable. Okay, so this is called actually instance variable, and that is why this variable is very special variable. It's like very powerful variable, because in our normal variable we can't store actually different types of data. It's not possible. Let's say if I'm defining a variable, let's say A, inside A I can only store one kinds of data. Let's say if I store Bappy, okay, I can only store Bappy. I can't store any other data inside this particular variable. It's not possible. But inside instance variable it is possible. You can store as much as data you can, okay, in the same variable itself, but in a different object, in a different object location. That is the idea only. Now let me execute this code in the Python tutor. I think then this part would be more clear. So I'll copy this example. So here you can see I have defined all the object P1, P2 and P3. Fine. Now if I visualize the code, now see, execution has started. Now if I click on next, first of all, it will create this object P1, and P1 takes to input Bappy and country, that means name and country. Now see, this object has created, and set constructor I'm having two instance variable, name and country. Now if I click here, so it will create these two variable. You can see, so variable has created, so country and Bappy. Now see, again it will come to the next object, which is nothing but P2. Okay, see, it will go to the P2 right now, and again it will create this particular constructor, and again you are initializing the variable. Now if I click on the next, see, now see, in the different memory location it will create another object. See, it has created another object with the same variable name and country. Okay, and now value is different, USA and Alex, and previously it was Bappy and UK. Now if I do it for the P3, you'll see it will create another object inside memory. See, another object is created, and now country is India, name is Ahmed. That means what is happening? You are using the same variable name. Okay, but inside that you are storing different value. Okay, you are storing different value, but you are creating a different object. This is the idea, and this is called actually instance variable inside OOP. Okay, and it's like very powerful variable. That's why OOP is very powerful, because with the help of OOP you can handle very big application. Okay, very big application. That's how you can use the same class for the multiple tasks. Okay, for the different tasks. So here you can see I've written only one class, but here I'm using this particular class for multiple time. Okay, multiple time with different example. Okay, again this is called code reusability. I'm using the same class again and again, okay, instead of writing from scratch. This is the idea. So I hope you got it, guys. Thanks for watching. Hi everyone, welcome to this video. In this video we'll be discussing another very important object-oriented programming concept called encapsulation. I think you remembered I showed you one image. In that image actually I told you we'll be discussing some very important concept inside object-oriented programming. Like this was the image. We have already discussed the class and objects. So in this particular video we'll be trying to discuss what is encapsulation. Okay, then we'll be trying to discuss like the polymorphism, inheritance, abstraction, and so on. Okay, everything we'll try to discuss. So encapsulation is super important topic inside OOP. So in this video I'll try to use one story to explain this particular concept. I think then this concept will be more clear, because I told you it's a completely practical understanding. Unless and until I'm not showing you any practical demo of a topic, it would be a little bit difficult for you to understand. Okay, so let's go to our code editor and try to understand what is encapsulation inside OOP. So guys, you can see here I kept one definition of the encapsulation. Encapsulation is a fundamental object-oriented principle in Python. It protects your classes from accidental change or deletion and promotes code reusability and maintainability. Okay, so I know that as a beginner this would be a little bit hard for you to understand this definition, what I'm trying to express here. But as of now, just try to consider encapsulation is a technique to capsule anything. Like, you know what is capsule? Okay, in a capsule actually we are having different medicine, right? And it is capsulated. Okay, it is capsulated together. Or you can also consider a wrapping. That means you are trying to wrap something so that anybody won't be able to see that. Okay, that is the idea. Now let me give you that particular story and let me show you the demo. I think then this would be clear. So for this I'm going to use the same class I written, the same ATM class. I think remember we written a ATM machine class, right? So ATM code functionality we have written, I think remember. So this is the ATM class, guys. And here what I did, guys, I just only comment these are the menu. Okay, so wherever actually menu was calling, I was just commented. Okay, I just commented this particular line. Why? Because I don't want to let's automatically get the menu right now, because here I'm going to call these are the method one by one. Okay, that's why I commented all the menu here. Okay, I'm not going to call automatically, okay, after executing this particular method. Okay, that is the idea. Now let's say you are working in a company and you are working as a senior developer. So I think you know that usually senior developer write any kinds of function or write any kinds of class. Okay, let's say you have written this particular class called ATM. So you have a project called, you have to implement a ATM machine code functionality, and it is your responsibility to design this particular class. Let's say you have designed this particular class and everything is working fine. I already showed you this demo, right? This class is already working fine. So here we can create the pin, we can change the balance, we can change the pin, right? We can also withdraw the money, we can check balance, everything we can perform with the help of this particular class. I think you remember. And now after implementing this particular class, what he will do, he will try to hand over this class to the junior programmer, okay, or let's say junior developer. So what he will try to do, he will try to integrate this functionality in the actual ATM machine, okay, actual ATM machine, or let's say in the actual website. Okay, this is his task actually. But as a senior programmer, you have to design the code module always. Okay, this is always happens in all the industry. The senior developer will develop this class, and junior developer will try to integrate this class with the actual software product. Okay, this is the idea, because your company won't be giving the responsibility to implement the core functionality to the junior programmer, because he's a junior programmer. He has actually less experience, so he might do some mistake in the code, right? So that's why as a senior programmer, it's your responsibility to maintain this particular class itself. And after implementation, you will hand over to the junior programmer, and junior programmer will try to test it, okay, whether it's working fine or not. If it is working, then he will try to add it to the main website, or let's say main let's say project. Okay, this is the idea. Now let's say in your company there is a junior programmer, and he's like very clever, and he's like very crazy. Okay, let's say he's thinking, okay, sir has given me this particular class. Now what I will do, I'll just try to find out one mistake he has done, and he will get fired from the company. Okay, let's say this kinds of thought actually he is having. So what he will do, let's say you have given this particular class to the junior programmer. Now as a junior programmer, what he will do, he will come here and it will initialize one object. First of all, let's say obj is equal to ATM. Okay, because he knows ATM is a class, and inside ATM I'm having some functionality, okay, so that I can perform some of the operation. So let's say he has created this object and it's working fine. Now what he is doing, he just defined the object and he's pressing the dot button, and now see, it is suggesting all the functionality you have implemented in that particular class. He can see actually, okay, in your class balance is there, change pin is there, okay, check balance is there, create pin is there, menu is there. Okay, so these are the thing actually he can use. Now let's say junior programmer wants to test this create pin, whether it is working or not and how it is working. So he will select this create pin, and if we executing the code, it will ask for the enter your pin. So let's say he has given the pin 123, and after that it is asking for the balance. Let's say he has stored 5,000 rupees in the account. Okay, now if I'm executing, see, pin created successfully. Okay, now if he wants to check the balance, so easily he can do it. He'll just call check balance, okay, this particular method, and if he is executing, it will ask for the pin 123, and now if I execute, see, it will tell me you have 5,000 rupees in the account. Okay, that means everything is working fine. But I told you, your junior programmer is very clever and he's very crazy. His thought is to fire you from the company. Okay, so what he will be doing, see, he will come here, and now instead of using your let's say method, okay, what he will do, now here he will think, okay, so I already checked all the methods one by one, okay, it's working fine, but what is this balance and pin? Okay, let me test. Now he will call this particular balance, and now if I'm executing the code, see, it is giving me 5,000. That means he got to know, okay, so this is actually a class variable my sir has defined. Okay, now what I will do, I'll just simply write obj.balance equal to hello. Let's say this particular data your junior programmer has given in the balance. Okay, now if I'm executing the code, what will happen? Will it execute or will it throw me any kinds of error? So if I'm executing, it will work fine. Okay, there is no error. Okay, there is no error, because I already showed you, you can also change the, let's say, class variable, okay, class variable data outside of the class. It is, I think I already created one video on top of it. Okay, we can also create and access actually class variable outside of the class. It is possible. Okay, and we can change anything inside that. That's why I'm able to set this particular value inside this particular balance. Okay, balance variable. Now see, if I'm again checking my balance, now see, if I give my pin, let's say 123, now see, it is giving me balance is hello. Okay, now just tell me, is it really correct? Is it really correct? Your balance should contains the string value. Is it really correct? No, it's not correct, because see, if I now want to withdraw the money, let's say if I want to withdraw the money right now, so I'll call the withdraw method. Now if I'm executing, that is asking the pin, so I'll give 123. Now if I'm executing, now it is telling enter the amount. Let's say I want to withdraw 2,000 rupees. Now if I'm executing, see, it will give me one error. The error is type error, not support between instance of integer and string. That means what you are trying to do, if you check the withdraw functionality, so here you are trying to do the subtraction operation. That means balance subtraction of amount. Okay, balance subtraction of amount. Now tell me, what is the balance right now? Balance is hello, and you are subtracting with 2,000. Now tell me, will it work? No, it won't be working. That's why it is throwing the error and you are getting the error. Okay, now your manager will come and he will blame you. Okay, because you are a senior programmer, he will blame you what kinds of code you have written. Okay, what kinds of code you have written, because it is failing in the production, and that time actually he will fire you. Okay, he will fire you definitely from the company, because if as a senior developer, if you're writing this kinds of code, so definitely no one actually will give you another chance. Okay, so that's how junior programmer will do some crazy thing in your code, and he will get the promotion. Okay, and he will get the fire from the company. So it's really not fair enough, right? What do you think? So that is where actually encapsulation concept comes into picture. So encapsulation means there is a concept inside OOP called private variable. Okay, private variable inside a class itself. So here I already told you, encapsulation is a fundamental object-oriented principle in Python. It protects your class from the accidental changes, because it is happening the accidental changes right now. Okay, because your junior programmer is able to set anything, okay, in your, let's say, in your sensitive variable, but you don't want that. Okay, so if you want to protect your sensitive variables, what you can do, you can use something called private variable concept inside OOP. So how to define a private variable? So let me copy the same example and I will go below, and here let me define it again. Okay, now see, instead of using the variable like that, I think I showed you one class diagram. I think, remember, I told you like minus and plus. Whenever you will see the minus, that means it's a private, and whenever you will see the plus, that means it's a public property. Now if I want to make anything private, okay, inside class, what I have to do, I have to use this particular double underscore symbol. Okay, double underscore symbol. So whenever you are defining double underscore symbol, that means it will become a private property. Okay, now it's a private, okay, private property. That means now this is a class variable, like this is a class variable, now it will become a private variable. Okay, private variable. Okay, now it will become private variable. Now what I will do, everywhere where I've written the balance, I'll just change it with the underscore balance right now. Just try to find where I've written the balance. See, here I've written the balance, it would be underscore balance. So guys, you can see I have changed this particular balance with underscore balance everywhere. Okay, now it has become my private variable. Okay, now see what will happen. Now if I execute the code, now if I am again define the object of this ATM machine. Okay, now if your junior programmer define the object and press the dot, again he will able to see all the let's say variable and methods you have defined in this particular class. Now see, he can see different methods and different variable you have defined. Okay, now see, now balance is having underscore this particular sign. That means your junior programmer will get to know, okay, my senior programmer is using one private variable in his class. Okay, now let's say he want to again create a pin, so I'll call this particular create pin method. Now if I'm executing, now give your pin, let's say 1 2 3, and let's say balance is equal to, let's say, 4000. Okay, 4000, and now if I execute, see, pin has created successfully. Now let's say your junior programmer is thinking, I will again change in the private variable. Okay, the private variable my senior programmer has defined, I will change something in the private variable. So I'll call this particular balance again, underscore balance. Okay, now let's say again I'll set hello here. Okay, again I'll set hello here. Now see, if I execute the code, what will happen? It will work fine. Your junior programmer is again calling the object. Now he's checking the balance right now. Okay, checking the balance right now. He's trying to see whether my balance has become hello or not, because balance is equal to hello he has set, right? Now he's checking whether balance has become hello or not. Now if he's executing the code, see what will happen. He has to give the pin. Now see, if I'm executing, now see, balance is equal to 4000. Okay, now this balance is equal to 4000. Now your junior programmer will go mad. Why? Okay, why? Because I already set underscore balance is equal to hello. But why it is having 4000 right now? The 4000 I had given during the create pin. Okay, this particular operation. Okay, because see what is happening, whenever you are calling this underscore balance and you are mentioning one date, and whenever you are assigning any value, okay, in this particular variable, it is not, okay, it is not reflecting in your actual private variable. Okay, it is not reflecting in your, what is my private variable here, in your actual private variable. Okay, it is not, so it is not changing inside your actual private variable because it's a private, okay, it's a private property, and no one, okay, no one can't access outside from the class. It's not possible. But you will have one question, but why it is executing? Because it's a private property. Okay, it's a private property, but I can see the suggestion from OBJ. Okay, that particular object. See, you can see the suggestion. You can see the suggestion, like what are the variables and what are the methods you are having inside a class. You can see that. But whenever anything is private, you can't change that one. Okay, you can't change that one outside of the class. It's not possible. That means what is happening? See, whenever you are creating a private, okay, private property inside a class. See, whenever you are creating a private property inside a class, let's say I have created underscore balance. Okay, so this is a private property. That means private variable balance. So you can see underscore balance I defined here. Okay, underscore balance I defined here. Initially the value is 0. Let's say initially the value is 0. Okay, now see, whenever you define the private property, that means underscore, okay, before any kinds of variable or method, whatever. Okay, by default, what your Python will do, it will try to convert like that. First of all, it will take underscore, then your class name will come, and here what is the class name? Class name is ATM. Okay, so ATM will come here. ATM. Okay, it will come here. Then after that, you will be taking underscore underscore your variable name. Okay, variable name. Now variable name is balance. Okay, balance. Now equal to 0. That means whenever you are taking any kinds of private property, okay, private variable or private function, whatever you are taking, so by default your Python will try to convert this property in that way, okay, in that way in the memory location. So that is why whenever you are writing this particular statement, here underscore underscore balance is equal to hello, so it is not reflecting inside my actual private variable, because my actual private variable looks like that. Okay, actual private variable looks like that. Before, after defining, it will automatically convert in that way. So whenever you are writing underscore underscore balance, okay, is equal to hello, okay, is equal to hello, that means it is creating a new variable. It is creating a new variable in the class, okay, in the memory. The variable name is underscore underscore balance right now. Okay, the variable name is underscore underscore balance, and the value you are giving, which is nothing but hello. Okay, it's a completely new variable. Okay, new variable you are creating outside from the class itself. I think I showed you we can also create the variable from outside of the class. Okay, it is possible. So that is why it is not reflecting in my actual private property. Okay, it is creating a new instance. Okay, new instance variable inside my class. That is the idea. Okay, that's why you can see whenever I was checking the balance, it is 4,000 only, because here I set the pin and I given my balance. Okay, and balance I given 4,000. Okay, and after that, whenever I changed underscore underscore balance is equal to hello, that means it is creating a new instance in the class, which is nothing but balance, but it is not reflecting inside my actual private property. That's why my balance is still is equal to 4,000. Now let me show you the things I told you, whether it's correct or not. So let's say if I just write obj, okay, obj dot underscore underscore balance, okay, underscore underscore balance, you will see that it will print me hello. Okay, it will print me hello, because now underscore underscore balance is the new variable inside my class, right? But if I want to see my actual private property, okay, actual private property, how I can check? I can check like that, obj dot underscore ATM, because I told you first of all your class name will come, class name is ATM, then underscore underscore balance. Now see, if I execute this line, now it will show me 4,000. Okay, now you can also check in the Python tutor. So what I will do, I'll go to the Python tutor, and this example I think you remember, I will just modify this example. Let's say I don't need the input here, I'll remove these are the variable. I also don't need the country. Now let's say instead of name, I will take underscore underscore name. Now it will become private variable inside this class. Now name is equal to, let's say, Bappy. Okay, now let's say P. Okay, P is my object. Now see, if I visualize the example right now, if I go to the next, okay, now my person class will initialize. Now it will go to the constructor, and now see, it will create the private property. Okay, it will create the private property. And how it is created? See, it is created underscore, okay, and what is the class name? Person, then underscore underscore name, okay, is equal to Bappy. And let me just add one more line here. So what I will do, I'll just try to change this private variable. Let's say underscore underscore name is equal to Alex. Okay, now again, if I visualize, now see what will happen. So it has created the property. See, it has created my class. Now see, it will create the private property with the help of underscore class name, underscore underscore variable name, and value. Now see, whenever it will come here, and whenever it is trying to change, okay, whenever it is trying to change my private variable, instead of changing, it will create a new variable here called underscore underscore name, and the variable value should be Alex. Okay, now I think it is clear how things are working in the backend. Okay, it is not able to access my actual private variable. Instead of that, is creating a new, okay, new variable in the memory, new variable in the class. Okay, that is the idea. Now I think you got to know, okay, why it is still working fine. Okay, why it is still working fine. Now see, if I call the withdraw will work fine. See, if I call the withdraw right now, withdraw will work fine. Let's say I'll give the pin 1 2 3. Now enter the amount. Let's say I want to enter withdraw 1,000 rupees, and the current balance is 3,000 because I stored 4,000 rupees in my account. Okay, I hope it is clear. But let's say your junior programmer still didn't give up. Okay, what he will do? Now he learned this concept. Okay, now he got to know, okay, so it's not an actual way to change anything inside a variable. So I got to know, okay, if I want to change anything, I need to call with this particular name. So what he will do, he will come here, And now he will just write like that, obj dot underscore ATM, okay, underscore balance. Now he will write hello here. Now see, if I'm executing the program, it's working fine. Okay, now if I check the balance right now, let's give the pin 1 2 3. Now see, now balance is equal to hello. Now if I perform the withdraw operation, now see, again it will give me error. Let's say pin is 1 2 3. I want to, let's say, withdraw 2,000 rupees. Now see, it will give me the same error again, because currently your balance is hello and you are trying to subtract with 2,000. Okay, that's why it's throwing me error. Now you can ask me, then what is the use of the private variable? Because still my junior programmer can change anything inside this particular variable. Even I was also surprised. Okay, when I learned this concept in Python, I was also surprised. But in other programming language, it's not possible. Once you define something in private, okay, private property, you will die, but you can't change that particular property. Okay, you can't change any kinds of value inside that private property. But in Python, okay, in Python you can do it. Okay, in Python you can do it. Although it's a private property, but with the help of this particular hack, you can do it. Okay, this particular hack, because you know in memory how my private property is getting created. And if you know that particular name, you can easily change something in that variable. I already proven. Okay. So I was exploring this topic in the internet. Then I got to know one line actually from Quora. Actually, I think you know what is Quora, right? In Quora, actually, you will get all kinds of answer. So in Quora, I got this particular answer. In Python, nothing is true private. Okay. In Python, nothing is true private, and it is made for adults. That means if you are an adult, okay, if you are an adult person, then you will be using this particular programming language. It seems a little bit, weird, but it is the reality. Okay, you have to obey. So in Python, nothing is true private. It is made for adults. So if you are an adult, then you will be using this particular programming language. Okay. So whenever you are working in the industry as a senior programmer, and if you're using any kinds of private property, so your junior programmer will have the responsibility. Okay, he won't be changing anything inside the private property. Okay, this is called actually adultness. Okay, these kinds of adultness your junior programmer should have. Okay, if he doesn't have, that means there is definitely some issue with your company culture. Okay, so that is the thing actually. So this is called actually encapsulation concept inside OP. That means if you don't want to, let's say, change anything, okay, accidentally inside your let's say class, okay, class variable, or let's say class methods, whatever, so you can use this encapsulation concept. That means you can use private property that time. Okay, this is the idea. Now it's not about only variable. You can also make private your function as well. Let's say this is the menu function. Here I have given double underscore sign. That means this function is now my private property. That means I'm telling to my junior programmer, no need to change anything here because it's a private property. Okay, inside that. Then for the create pin also, you can use the same concept. If you're giving like that, that means it's a private property. Okay, so whenever you will see this particular double underscore sign, okay, before any kinds of let's say variable or method, you have to consider it's a private property, and I don't need to change anything inside that particular private property. Okay, because it's not recommended, because Python is made for adult person, right? And as a programmer, I have to be adult first of all if I'm using this particular programming language. Okay, this is the idea. But let's say in some cases actually it is required to change something inside a private property. Let's say there would be an application you are creating, and there is a, let's say, condition you have to change something in that private property. Then what you have to do? Okay, so that time as a senior programmer, you won't be allowing you to change like that. Okay, you won't be telling your junior programmer call like that. Okay, call like that, call this particular private variable like that, and just change something inside that. Okay, no, you won't be giving these kinds of suggestion. Okay, instead of that, what you will do, you will use another actually concept inside actually encapsulation, which is nothing but setter method and getter method. Okay, so in the next video we'll try to discuss what is setter method and getter method, and with the help of that how we can access the property of the private variable. Okay, and this is the recommended way. Okay, this is the recommended way as a senior programmer. If you want to change anything inside a private variable, or let's say public variable, or whatever, let's say you want to allow your junior programmer to change, that time instead of giving the variable directly, what he will do, he will give a function. Okay, he will give a method. Okay, two method. One is the setter method, one is the getter method. Okay, with the help of that he can change anything inside a variable. Okay, this is the idea. And whenever you are designing any kinds of software, whenever you are trying to create any kinds of project, And if you are using any sensitive variable or sensitive function, so make sure you are using this particular symbol. That means private variable concept. Okay, private let's say property concept here. Okay, so this is a good practice always. Okay, no need to make everything public, otherwise what will happen, they will directly able to change your variable or let's say function. But if you are giving underscore sign, so it will be happening like that. Okay, that means instead of reflecting in the actual private property, it will create a new variable inside that the change would be happened. Okay, unless and until he's not calling in that way. Okay, he's not calling in that way. Okay, but again, he won't be calling because he is an adult programmer and he knows this is the private property, so I don't need to change anything inside that. Okay, so this is the concept of encapsulation inside object-oriented programming. So in the next video, we'll try to understand how, if I want to change something in the private property, how to use the setter and getter method for this. So thank you so much. Hi everyone, in our previous video, I already showed you what is encapsulation inside OOP and what is the use of it. Okay, that means if I want to encapsulate it anything, that means if I want to wrap anything, okay, wrap anything so that other people won't be able to see that, other people won't be able to change anything inside that particular property. So that time actually I can use something called private property technique. Okay, that means I can use private variable or I can use private method. Okay, inside that. Now there I told you there is a possibility I have to change something inside my private property. That time how I will be doing. Okay, that time how I will let my junior developer to do the changes inside that. Okay, for this we'll be using something called getter and setter method inside OOP. Okay, so how to write the getter and setter method? So for this I'm going to copy the same example. Let me copy here. Now see, you can see this is my balance. Okay, balance is the private variable right now. Now let's say if I want to let my junior developer to change this particular balance, okay, and see this particular balance. So what I will do, so for this I'm going to write two method actually. The first method will be write the getter method. Okay, so what getter method will do, it will try to show the private property, like what you have written in the private property. Okay, for this you have to use the simple method you write usually, the same method you have to write here. So you can give any name. I'll give get balance. Okay, this is the name. Okay, so this is a method. Inside that I'll just return a self dot underscore underscore balance. Okay, why I'm directly returning self underscore underscore balance? Because see, it's a class method actually I'm writing. So this method I'm writing inside a class, and I think you know inside a class whatever method I will be writing, everything can access the class variable. So whatever variable you are defining, it's a private property or it's a public property, anything can access by the class method itself. Okay, that's why I can directly access this self underscore underscore balance. Okay, self underscore underscore balance. But whenever I was calling outside, okay, whenever I'm calling outside, okay, that time it's not possible, okay, to call this particular private property outside of the class. So whenever you are calling outside from the class, it was creating a different variable in the memory itself. Okay, this is the idea. So this is called actually getter method concept. That means if I want to show something, okay, if I want to show something which is a private property inside a class, so this is actually a getter function. That means getter function will return that particular private property. Okay, now see, if I execute the program, now let's say I will initialize the object of the class obj is equal to, let's say ATM. First of all, I have to execute this line, select the kernel. Now I'll define my ATM machine. Now see, if I just write obj dot get balance, okay, now see, it will show me the balance. So balance is currently 0. You can see balance is currently 0. Okay, now let's say your junior programmer wants to change this particular balance. So what he can use the getter method. So he can use the setter method that time. So let me just write the setter method as well. So here I'm going to name this function as set balance, and it will take the new balance your junior programmer wants to set. Okay, now simply I'll just write self dot underscore underscore balance is equal to new balance. That means whatever new balance actually your junior programmer is giving, it will set, okay, in the new balance. Okay, and why I'm able to directly set, because I'm inside the class itself, and now I can directly access my private property inside a class. Okay, it's possible, I think you already know. Okay, now see, if I execute the code right now, now see, if I define the object, now if I check the balance, so you can see it's 0. Now let's say if I want to set the balance, I can easily do. I'll just call set balance. So inside that I have to pass the new balance. Let's say I want to give, let's say 5,000. Okay, now if I execute, it will work. Now if I again check the balance, you can also call get balance. Okay, this setter method, it will show you the balance currently. it's 5,000. Now let's say your junior programmer is giving like that. Let's say instead of setting the balance 5,000, he's again setting hello. Okay, now if I hit enter, now again if I get the balance, it will tell me hello. Okay, it will tell me hello. He is able to set anything, okay, inside that particular let's say balance itself. So again, if you call the withdraw function, it will give you the error. Okay, I think you know. So as a senior programmer, what you have to do now, see, you have written a function here. Okay, you have written a method here. Now you have the responsibility to handle this particular method. So what you will do, you can easily handle this particular situation. First of all, you will be writing one condition. You'll just check the type of the new balance. Okay, type of the new balance. If it is equal integer, okay, if it is equal integer, then you will be able to then he will be able to do this particular operation. Okay, otherwise he will give a message. The message would be dekh bhai mazak na kar. Okay, so this is the message actually will be giving to the junior programmer. If I execute the program now, let's initialize the object. Now check the balance, it's 0. Now if your junior programmer wants to set anything which is not integer, it will give him this particular message, dekh bhai mazak na kar. Okay, and if he is giving the correct actually value, let's say 5,000 rupees, it will work fine. Okay, now if I again check the balance, see, it will give me the 5,000. Okay, so that's how with the help of getter and setter method, we can give the access to my junior programmer to see and change anything inside my private property. Okay, and this is the recommended way. This is the recommended way. If you want to change anything in the private property, you have to use the getter method and setter method for this. Okay, I hope it is clear. Getter method will show the data inside a private property. Setter method will allow you to set anything in the private property because it is inside the class itself. Okay, and you can directly change inside your private property itself. This is the idea. Okay, so this is all about how this getter and setter method, and I hope you liked it and you have the entire understanding of the encapsulation and getter and setter method inside OP. Okay, I hope everything is clear. So with that, guys, thank you so much for watching this particular video, and I will see you next time. Hi everyone, welcome back. In this video, I'm going to show you another very interesting topic we can do with the help of OP. See, here I have taken the same example. See, I think I already taken this example in my previous video. So here I've just written a class called person. This class takes two parameter called name and country. And here I'm defining some class object, you can see. So I've defined P1 object, P2 object, and P3 object. And every time I'm passing some new value, okay, inside that. Now, just let me know if I just write L is equal to, let's say if I take a list and inside that, if I just store P1, P2, and P3. And now if I print this particular L, so is it possible? Yes or no? Let me know. Is it possible? See, it is also possible. You can also store a class object inside a list. Okay, lists. Then you can also store inside a dictionary. Okay, it is possible. That means here we are trying to store collection of class objects inside a list. Okay, now see if I execute the program, you'll see that it will show you the object. Okay, it will show you the P1 object, P2 object, and P3 object. We can easily store it. And now it will work as a normal list. So whatever list actually we used to perform, we can also perform here. Let's say I'll just apply a for loop. So I'll just write for I in L. Then if I print this particular I, it will print me all the object of this particular class. You can see different class. Now it's a class object actually. Now you can perform all the operation, whatever operation I was to perform with the object. Now see, if I just simply write I dot name, comma, I dot country, it will show me the name and country. Okay, see, Bappi UK, Alex USA, Ahmed India. Okay, so that's how we can store collection of class object inside a data structure, like list data structure, dictionary data structure. Okay, so whatever data structure supports actually mutable data type, you can store there. Okay, now just let me know, can I store this class object inside a tuple or inside a sets or not? Just try to let me know in the comment. Thank you. Hello everyone. In this video, I will discuss what is static variables and method inside object-oriented programming. See, for this, what I will do, I will copy the same, I think, class we have written called ATM, right? So let me copy that particular class. So this is the class I'll just try to copy and let me paste it here. So I think you remember we created this ATM class and I was able to perform different operation like create pin, change pin, and so on, right? But let's say I want to add another functionality in this particular, let's say, ATM class. So whenever I will be defining, let's say, different objects. So let me show you. So let's say whenever I will define different objects, let's say P1, or I can just write OVG1, and I'm going to define my class. Okay, ATM class. So this is one object. Now I'll create another object. Okay, so that's how actually I want to create different objects. Okay, I want to create different objects. It will generate a unique ID, okay, for each and every objects. Let's say instead of object, just try to consider here we are having different customer. Let's say customer 1, C1. Let's say customer 2, okay, C2. That's how I'm having different customer in this particular ATM. Okay, so whenever customer 1 will come to the ATM, it will generate a unique ID, okay, for the customer 1. Whenever customer 2 will come in our ATM, it will generate another unique ID called 2. Okay, so that's actually it will every time create a unique ID for different customer. Fine. So if I want to add these kinds of functionality inside my ATM class, so I think you are thinking what I can do. I can take another variable here. I'll just name it as, let's say, customer ID, customer underscore ID, and initially the value would be 0. Now what I will do, simply whenever user will define the object of the class, it will increase the customer, okay, number. So here I'll just write customer ID plus and equal 1. Okay, so that's how actually we can increment the customer ID. Now see here, the customer ID you have defined, the variable you have taken, this is called instance variable. I think I already explained, okay, what is instance variable. So here you are taking something called instance variable. So whatever variable you are defining inside the constructor, okay, this is called instance variable. Now see, if you are using instance variable and if you are adding this particular functionality like that, okay, customer ID, then you are incrementing the ID, okay, every time by 1. Now see what will happen if I execute the program. Okay, now see, I will define my C1. Okay, now if I call, let's say, C1 dot let's say customer ID. Okay, customer ID. Now if I execute this code, it will give me 1. Okay, now let's say if I will initialize C2, that means customer 2. Now if I call C2 dot customer ID, okay, now tell me what will be the output. See, if I execute again, it will give me 1. Okay, that means what is happening, every time whenever you are creating a different objects, okay, it will initialize this particular constructor. This constructor will run, okay, every time this constructor will run by default, and whenever it is running by default, that means it is 0, and again you are incrementing with 1. Okay, that means your value would be only 1. Okay, your value would be only 1. So this is not a right approach to create the customer ID. So for this, actually what I can do, I can use one amazing actually concept inside OOP called static variables. Okay, I can use static variable instead instance variable. Now what is static variable? Static variable means you will be defining the variable inside the class, okay, not inside the constructor. Okay, now see, inside the class actually you can define the static variable. Now how you can define? So simple variable you can define like that. Let's say I'll just give customer, okay, customer ID. So let's say initially it would be 0, or you can also start from 1. Okay, it's up to you. Now instead of taking this line, what I will do, I will store this customer ID. Now I will store this static variable, that means my customer ID, inside my instance variable. I'll just write customer. Okay, but customer ID, see, if you call customer ID, it won't be working. Okay, it won't be working. If you want to use customer ID, that means static variable, you have to first of all give the class name. So my class name is ATM. Okay, ATM. Now you have to give the dot, okay, ATM dot customer ID. Now it will automatically get to know, okay, so this customer ID is my class variable. Okay, it's a class variable, and if I want to access this class variable, I have to use the class name here. Okay, this is the concept of static variable. Always try to remember. Fine. Now I have to increment the ID and I have to update this customer ID. So what I will do, again I will call ATM dot customer ID. Then here you can simply increment by 1. Okay, this is the code. This is the code, guys. Now see, if I execute the program right now, instead of calling my instance variable, I have to call my static variable. And to call the static variable, first of all, I have to define my class name, then the variable name. Okay, you can see ATM customer ID. Now if I execute, see. So first of all, let me execute this code. Then I will initialize the object. Now I will check the customer ID. You can see it's 2. Okay, why it is 2? Because initially it is 1 and it is adding 1 with that. Okay, that's why it's 2. Now we can also start from 0. I'll give 0 here. Now see, it will give me 1. Okay, it will give me 1. Now if I define for customer 2, it will give me 2. But I have to call like that. Okay, it will give me 2. Okay, now let's see if you define customer 3. Let's say customer 3. Now if I call customer ID, you'll see that it will give you ID Now it will give you the ID of 3. Okay, that's how with the help of static variable we can handle this particular situation. Okay, instead of taking instance variable. So always try to remember, if you want to get something unique, okay, if you want to get something unique, that time you can use like a static variable. And if you want to get the similar things, okay, that time you can use instance variable. Now let me ask you one question. Let's say I'm creating a bank application. Okay, let's say in that I'm using one data called name. Okay, name. Now tell me, name should be the static variable or it's an instance variable? Just let me know. Okay, I think you got it. Okay, name should be a static variable because every time customer name will be different. Okay, customer name would be different. So fine, now I think you got the difference between your instance variable and static variable. Okay, so this is the static variable. So let me just write here, this is my static variables. Okay, static variables, that's it. Now let's say your junior programmer is again here. Let's say he will write like that. Let's say atm.customer_id is equal to, let's say, hello. Now see, if I execute, it will execute fine. Okay, now see, if I check the ATM customer ID, it will give me hello. Okay, that means he is able to access this particular data, access this particular variable. Now how we can prevent it? I think you learned the encapsulation concept. That means I have to use the private property. So instead of using this variable as a public, you can use privately. Okay, privately you can use. Now see, whenever I'm defining customer ID, I have to use the private one. Okay, private one. Now it is fine. Now let's see, if you want to see the customer ID, okay, what you can do. So this is a private property. For this you can use getter and setter method. I think I told you. So here simply you can write one getter method. So I'll just write def get underscore customer ID. Okay, now inside that I'll just simply return my ATM, okay, dot underscore customer ID. Okay, because it's a static variable, it's not an instance variable. Fine. One thing you observe, see here I'm not using any instance variable. That means this particular constructor variable. So I don't need to use the self here. See, I'm not using any self here. So what I can do, I can remove this self. Okay, if I'm also removing the self, still I can access this function. Okay, still I can access this method. How? Let me show you. So if I execute the program, now simply I'll initialize my customer one. Now see here, I will call like that. I'll just call ATM. Okay, ATM dot get customer ID. Okay, this is a method inside that. Now if I execute, see, it will give me 1. Okay, it will give me 1. See, without self object also I'm able to execute this particular method, because here I'm not returning any kinds of, let's say, data which is present inside my constructor. Okay, which is present inside my constructor. That's why I don't need to use self parameter here. Okay, now if you are using this kinds of function, okay, this kinds of function, this is called a static function. And to identify the static function, what you can use, you can use one decorator called static method. Okay, static method. Okay, this is called static method. Now see, whenever you will get this particular decorator, that means this particular syntax, that time you have to consider it's a static method. Okay, and the variable you are returning, this is a static variable. Okay, so this is another super important concept inside OP. Now I think it is clear. And if you want to allow your junior programmer to change this value, what you can do, you can again create a method called setup. Okay, with the help of that, he can also change the value of it. So I will leave this particular task to you. You can create another setter method and you can change the value of the customer ID. Okay, fine. Now see, if I execute the program, it's working fine. Okay, there is no error. So yes, this was the concept of static variable and static method inside OP. I hope you cleared. Okay, so just try to think whenever you will be designing your own software. Just try to think whatever variable you'll be taking as static variable, and whatever variable you'll be taking as instance variable. Okay, it's up to you. Thank you guys. Hello everyone, welcome back. In this video, we'll be discussing another new concept inside object-oriented programming called aggregation. So before starting with the aggregation, first of all, let me tell you, see, whenever you are designing any kinds of software, whenever you are trying to create any kinds of application, it's not like that you will be only creating one class, okay, for that particular application. So you create actually multiple class. So let me give you one example. Let's say you are implementing Facebook software, that means Facebook application. So inside Facebook, we are having different functionality. Let's say I can, apart from the login operation, I can perform the sign up operation. Okay, I can, let's say, create my profile, I can post something in the Facebook. Okay, so different thing we can perform there. So for this, what you will do, you will just try to create different class. Let's say for login, you will be creating one class. For sign up, you will be creating another class. create profile, you will be creating another class. Okay, so that's how actually we'll be implementing different class, and we'll be creating the entire application. With that, what will happen, your code management would be really good, and you can manage your code in a very easy way, and you will get one convenience called code reusability. That means you can reuse the same class again and again. Okay, this is the concept. Now see, whenever I'm creating multiple class and whenever I'm designing any kind of software, so definitely there would be some relationship between some classes. Let's see if I'm talking about sign up and login. So first of all, user will perform the sign up operation. Then whenever it will perform the login operation, first of all, it will check whether user did the sign up operation or not. That means in sign up and in login, actually there is a relationship. So these two classes having relationship. So these two class can actually communicate with each other. Okay, so this is called actually aggregation. That means if there is a relationship between, let's say, some classes, okay, this is called aggregation. Okay, this is called aggregation. That means one class own another class. Okay, this is the idea here. So again, it's a practical understanding. So let's go to our code editor and try to understand this aggregation. So guys, I already told you aggregation means there is a relationship. That means it has some relationship with a class or with a multiple class. Okay, this is the idea. And in a short form, you can also tell one class owns other class. This is the idea. So for this, let me give you one example. I think then this part will be more clear. So here, let's say I'll be writing a class. The class name is, let's say, customer. Okay, customer. Now inside this class, I'm going to create a constructor, so underscore init. And this class takes some input, let's say name, gender, and address of the customer. Okay, address of the customer. Then what I will do, I'll simply create some class variable, that means instance variable, and I'm going to store these are the variable one by one. So I'll just write self.name is equal to name. Then I will take self.gender equal to gender and self.address equal to address. Okay, that's it. Now just try to see here, name and gender. Okay, name and gender I can define in just one word. Let's say name is equal to, I can write, okay, name is equal to, I can write Bappi only. Okay, Bappi only, or let's say Bappi Ahmed or anything, right? And gender is equal to, okay, gender is equal to, I can write male or female. Okay, it's up to me. That means this is not actually complex variable. This is not a complex variable. But whenever I'm talking about address, okay, whenever I'm talking about address, so address is a complex variable. Okay, it's a complex data because inside address we'll have so many things. Let's say we'll have the city, we'll have the let's say pin code, we'll have the, let's say, state. So that's how inside address we'll have different kinds of, let's say, entity, right? And to store an address, actually I can't take only one variable, and I can't write actually, let's say, address is equal to, let's say, city, then pin, then state. Okay, I can't write like that because inside a variable I can't store multiple value. It's not possible, right? So for this, what I can do, I can just design this particular program in that way. So instead of taking the address, okay, like that, what I will do, I'll just create another class. Okay, I'm going to create another class. The class name is, let's say, address. Okay, let's say this is my class, so it should be address. So this is a class I have created. Now inside this class, I'm going to create another constructor, let's say underscore init. And now this class also takes some input. Let's say the first input, it will take the city, okay, city name. Then the second input, it will take the pin code, and the third input, it will take the state. Okay, you can also mention so many things inside address, but I'm going to take these three entity as of now. Okay, now again I'm going to create a instance variable. So self.city is equal to city, then self.pin is equal to pin, and self.state is equal to state. Okay, so that's how I can define this particular class. Okay, now see what I'm going to do. Instead of giving the address, okay, instead of giving the address separately, I'll give the entire class object, because I told you we can pass any kinds of class object as a reference to a function or to a class. I already told you, we can pass it. So simply what I will do, let me delete this line, it's not required. I'm going to execute the program. Okay, now see, it's working fine. Now first of all, if I want to initialize the customer, okay, customer, let's say, object. So let's initialize, let's say, customer object. So customer object takes three input. First of all, it will take the name, let's say name is Bappi. Then it will take the gender, let's say gender is male. The third input, it will take the address. Okay, address is nothing but it will take the address object. That means this class object. Now what I will do, before initializing the customer, I will define the address class. So let me define the address class, and address takes three input. So first of all, it will take the city name. You can see it will take the city name. Let's say city I'll give, Karnataka. Okay, then second input, it will take the pin code. Let's say I'll give 454545. Okay, let's say this is my pin code. And the third input, I have to give the state. Okay, let's say state, I will give Bangalore. Okay, so let's say this is my address object I have defined. Now this particular object I'm going to pass here. Okay, this object actually I'm going to pass here. So it should be address. Okay, like that. Now if I execute the program, now see, everything is working fine. Okay, everything was working fine. Now if I want to print all the, let's say, information, so what I can do, inside customer class, I can create a method. The method name, I can just name it as print, let's say address, or I can write print information. Okay, print info. So inside that, I'm going to print everything. Okay, let me show you what I did. See, first of all, I'm printing the name, self.name. I'm printing the gender, self.gender. I'm printing the address. Now see how I'm printing the address. I'm calling the address object. Then I'm calling the city. Okay, first of all, I'm printing the city. Then I'm printing the pin code. Okay, then I'm printing the state, because address is a class object. Now I can call this particular object and I can call the attribute. Okay, inside that. Okay, this is the idea. Now see, if I execute the program right now, it's working fine. Now simply I'll just write cus.printinfo. Okay, this is the method I defined. Now see, if I execute, it will print everything like name, gender, address. Okay, everything it will print one by one. Now I think you got it. So this is called actually aggregation. Okay, this is called actually aggregation. That means what is happening now, my customer class is able to communicate with my address class. Okay, so these two class has some relationship. So without this address class, my customer can't work. Okay, my customer can't work. So this is called actually aggregation. That means it has one relationship. One class owns another class. That means my customer class owns my address class. Okay, this is the idea. I hope you got it. Okay, what is the aggregation inside OOP? Okay, what is the aggregation inside Python? I think it is clear now. But inside aggregation, you will get one issue actually. So let me show you the issue actually you will face. So let's say I will copy the same class as it is, and I'm going to paste it here. Now see, instead of taking this city like that, I will take this particular city as a private property. Let's say I will take as a private variable. Okay, underscore city. Now tell me, will your customer class can access this particular city or not? Okay, see, if I just write underscore city. Now tell me, will it able to access? Okay, will it able to access this particular city? Let me know. See, if I execute the program, let me show you. So I'll copy paste the same thing. Now I'll call the print info. Okay, print info I'll call. Now see, it can't access. It will give you one error. Address object no attribute customer city. Okay, it's not possible inside aggregation, because you can own any kinds of class, but it doesn't mean you can also own the private property of that particular class. Okay, so Python won't be giving you this particular let's say functionality. You can't access any kinds of private property from a different class. Okay, it's not possible. But if I want to let's say show my private property, what I can do, I think you remember, I can use getter and setter method for this. Okay, so simply again let me show you another example. So let's say if I want to show the city right now, so what I will do, instead of giving it directly, I'll just create a getter method for this. I'll just name it as get underscore city. Okay, so this is the name. So it will return self.city. Okay, now simply instead of calling the underscore city right now, I'll call self.address dot get. Okay, get underscore city. Okay, and this is the method. Now see, if I execute the program, and again let me initialize everything. Now see, it is able to access the city currently. Okay, that means with the help of getter actually I can do it. Okay, with the help of getter I can do it. Now you can ask me, sir, we just learned one concept, like we remembered, whenever I'm writing any kinds of private property, that means in the memory, how it will create, it will create underscore name of the class, then underscore that particular let's say attribute name. So can I use that particular approach? Yes, you can also use that particular approach. Let me show you what approach actually I'm talking about. So instead of using the getter, okay, getter city, this getter method, what I will do, instead of calling like that, I'll just call like that. I'll call self dot underscore, let's say the class name is address, so address, then underscore city. Okay, Now see, if I execute the program, it will work. But again, this is not a recommended way. I already told you. Okay, this is not a recommended way because you won't be touching the private property whenever you are seeing any kinds of private property inside implementation. Okay, you don't need to change anything inside that. That's the idea. That means what you have learned from this particular concept, that means you can only access non-private attribute and non-private methods. So similar wise, it can be also applicable for the method as well. It's not like that private method you can access. No, any kinds of private method also you can't access whenever you are using aggregation concept. Okay, that means non-private attribute and non-private methods. Okay, you can perform this particular aggregation. So to overcome this particular issue, that means to solve this particular issue, there is another concept we'll be learning called inheritance. Okay, inheritance inside OOP, and I'll tell you, inheritance is like very powerful concept inside Python and inside object-oriented programming. With the help of inheritance, you can do lots of things. Okay, you can make the connection between multiple classes. Okay, there are types of inheritance concept you can use here. Okay, so yes, I hope you like this particular video, and this is all about our aggregation inside OOP. Okay, so I just showed you this aggregation because the aggregation nobody uses nowadays. It has been deprecated. But to understand the inheritance, I just explained this particular aggregation. Okay, this is the idea. So yes, this is all about from this video. I hope you liked it. Thank you so much for watching this particular video, and I will see you next time. Hi everyone, welcome back. In this video, I'll show you how we can draw aggregation diagram, because in our previous video, I showed you how we can perform the aggregation. That means if there is a multiple class, how we can make the relationship, okay, with that. So there is a aggregation diagram also, like aggregation class diagram, because in interview actually you will get this kinds of diagram. You will see this kinds of diagram. Also, let's say whenever you will be designing any sort of software. So whenever, let's say you are working as an architect, so you have to draw this kinds of diagram so that your other programmer can see you want to perform aggregation or not. Okay, so let me show you so how we can draw this particular aggregation class diagram. So I'm going to open up my Blackboard. So here I created two class, I think remember, called customer and address. So let me just draw. And how to create a class diagram, I think you know, right? So you have to create a box like that. So here we created two class. That's why I'll be creating two box here. So let me just create a beautiful. Fine. So the first, it will have actually three block, 1, 2, and 3. Okay. So the first block will contain the name of the class. Let's say this is the customer class we have created. So it will have the same thing. And this is the address class we created, right? Now inside customer class, how many actually instance actually I had? That means how many class variable I'm having? I'm having 3 class variable: name, gender, and address. So let me just write. Solve the attribute. Let me write name, gender, and address. Okay, and all are actually public property. You can see all are public property because I'm not using any private property. So that means I have to give the plus sign here. Okay, and what is the method property here? Okay, so you can see inside class I'm having only one method called print info. So let me just write it here. Print underscore info. This is a method, and again it's a public one. Now inside address, how many instance I'm having? That means how many attribute I'm having? I'm having 3 attribute: city, pin, and state. So let me just write city, pin, and state. And here city is the private, because you can see city is the private here. City is the private, and all of the attribute are public. Okay. Now how many function you written? That means how many method? Only one method called get city. So let me just write plus get city, because again it's a public one, right? Get city. Okay, so these two class I created. Now see, whenever you will see these kinds of symbol, so here you will get something called one diamond shape. So let me just draw. So you will get this diamond shape. Okay, diamond shape. So whenever you see this kinds of diamond shape, okay, that means you are performing something called aggregation. Okay, aggregation. Okay, aggregation. That means customer class owns the address class. So whoever having this particular diamond, that means this particular class owns other class. This is the idea. Okay, this is the idea you have to always remember. And this is called actually aggregation diagram. Okay, aggregation class diagram. Okay, so in interview you might see these kinds of actually diagram, and that time you have to answer, okay, like that time actually you have to design the program like that. So if you are getting this kinds of diagram, that means you have to design the program in that way. Okay, so just try to make a habit whenever you are trying to create any kinds of class, and whenever you are performing aggregation, inheritance, anything, okay, just try to draw the diagram as well, because this helps a lot actually to understand your software, okay, how you have designed the software and all. Okay, this is the idea. So yes, this is all about our aggregation class diagram. I hope you got it. Thank you so much. Hello everyone, welcome to this video. In this video, we'll be discussing another amazing and super important concept inside OOP called inheritance. I think you remember in our previous video, I have already discussed about aggregation, okay, inside OOP, and I showed you what is the use of aggregation and why we perform the aggregation. Because let's say whenever we implement any kinds of real world application, there we not only create only one classes, but also we create multiple classes, okay, for that particular, let's say, application. And whenever we create lots of classes for the different functionality, so there is a possibility there would be some relationship with that particular classes. Okay, so to make this particular relationship, what I can do, I can perform the aggregation. That means one class owns other class here. That means what you can do, you can access other class property, okay, from another class. So this is called actually class relationship. Basically it is communicating with each other, right? So this was the concept. But see, when inheritance was not there, so aggregation was the concept, okay, that time. And I think you saw how to perform the aggregation, what is the code snippet and all. But nowadays actually aggregation has been replicated. Nobody uses aggregation concept, so people are using something called inheritance, because inheritance is much powerful than your aggregation. Okay, syntax wise actually it is also easy, and here actually you can do lots of things. I'll tell you whenever I'll be discussing this inheritance example and all, that time actually we'll get it. So inside inheritance actually we are having some types of the inheritance as well. Okay, we'll be also discussing all of them one by one. So in a summary, what is inheritance? Inheritance also, like the concept wise, it is the same thing like your aggregation. That means it will perform the relationship between actually classes, that means one or multiple classes. And this inheritance concept has taken from the real world actually. If I'm talking about, let's say, so whatever property your father is having, you owns that particular property, right? That means you can access this property. So similar wise, whatever property your grandfather is having, your father can, let's say, access those property. Even you can also access that property. Okay, so in inheritance actually we are having something called parent classes and child classes, like that. Let's say I told you now one example. Let's say your father is having some property, you can access this property. That means your father is a parent class and you are the child class. Okay, likewise your grandfather is having some property, your father can access. That means your grandfather is a parent and your father is a child class. Even I can tell you another example. This is a biological example. I think you already know biologically also we are having some property like our parents. Like let's say someone will have the same eyes like his father or mother, and someone will have the same actually face cut like his mother or father, right? So that's how actually biologically also it is the concept of inheritance. So this concept has taken from this real world only. So whoever designed this particular program, so he thought we can also integrate this inheritance concept inside our programming language, because at the end, whenever I'm implementing any kinds of software and whenever I'm creating different functionality, that means there should be some relationship with that particular, let's say, functionality. Okay, so I'll give you one example, real world example. Then I think this part would be more clear. So for this actually, what I will do, I will open up my Blackboard and let me show you that particular example. So here, let me show you one real-time actually software product, like how they have implemented. So I'll be talking about something called Coursera. I think you know what is Coursera, right? So Coursera is an online platform. You will have actually different courses here, right? So Coursera is a platform. So in Coursera actually website, you will have actually two kinds of portal. One is actually a student portal. Okay, student portal. Other is like instructor portal. Okay, instructor portal. Now just tell me what student can perform in that website. So student can log in, student can register, then student can enroll the course, then student can review the course. So as of now, let's try to consider these are the functionality student can perform. And whatever instructor also can log in, Instructor also can register. Okay, and instructor actually can create a course, and instructor let's say do the reply. Okay, reply on the, let's say, review and all. Okay, reply. Now just try to see what is the relationship between these two functionality. I think you see login and register is the common in both places. Okay, login and register is the common is the both places. Now let's say you are implementing this software. Okay, you are implementing this software. Now just tell me, will you create login and register functionality for both instructor and student? Like from scratch you will be writing? Yes or no? No, you don't need to write from scratch, because you can see it's a common thing. So if I only can implement let's say login and register for one, I can use it for other also, because it has some relationship. Okay, this class and this class can communicate with each other. So that's why in programming there is a concept actually always you have to remember, called dry. Okay, what is dry? Dry means don't. Okay, repeat yourself. Okay, yourself. See, you don't need to repeat yourself. So just try to create one functionality for login and another functionality for register, and use it everywhere. Okay, whenever you are performing the login and register operation. So for this, what you can do, simply you can create a user class. Okay, user class, and inside user, what you can do, just write the login functionality and the register functionality. Okay, login functionality and register functionality. Then next, what you can do, you can just create your student. Okay, student class, and inside student can enroll and student can review. Okay, I don't need to take login and register here because I already created the user class. Okay, now what I have to do, I have to perform the inheritance operation. That means I will just try to inherit this particular class with this student class, because whatever property user will having, student can also access. Okay, like I told you, your father has having some property, you can also access. Let's say this is your parent class right now. Okay, this is your parent class. This is the parent class, and this is the child class. Okay, I hope it is clear. Now similar wise, you can create another class for the instructor. And instructor can create the course and reply. Okay, reply. And login and register functionality will be doing the inheritance operation. Okay, inherit, you will be doing inherit. That means again it will become your child class. Okay, child class. Now in this particular diagram, you can see we are having only one parent class and multiple child class. Okay, so this is the concept of inheritance. Okay, I hope now it is clear. And now just try to think about all the software you are having, all the software you are using, all the software using this particular concept only. And it's like very powerful concept, and it's like very optimized concept as well. So I've seen so many actually senior developer, they're using these kinds of concept in their application building. So you just also try to make a habit to use inheritance concept whenever you are implementing any kinds of product. Just try to design the product first of all, like how it will be working, what is the relationship actually it is having. Once you are able to identify the relationship, you can easily create that class. Okay, so in summary, what we have learned in inheritance is a concept. So here we can also do the class relationship, and it can inherit with let's say some classes. Okay, and it will have some parent classes and child classes. Okay, based on that, actually you have to perform the inherit operation. That means whatever actually, let's say, property your parent is having, your child can access this property. Okay, the same real-time example I given you, like your father and you, right? So this is the idea. Now let's go to our code editor and try to see the code example, how we can perform the inheritance operation there. So guys, so far whatever concept I just explained, so in actually definition I have written it here. So in what is inheritance? Inheritance allows us to define a class that inherit all the methods and properties from another class. Okay, I already told you, whatever parents is having, your child can also access those properties. Okay, whether it can be, let's say, methods, or whether it can be attributes. Okay, anything it can access, but there is a condition. Okay, it should be non-private attributes and non-private methods. Okay, as we learned in our aggregation as well. Okay, it should be non-private. If you are having some private property in the parent class, okay, that time actually you can't access it. For this you have to use setter and getter. Okay, this particular method. So it should be non-private and So it should be non-private attributes and non-private methods. Okay, always you have to remember. Now let me show you one example. Okay, how we can perform the inheritance. See, here I will take one class. It's a very simple class I have written. See, I have written my class called user. Inside that I have taken a constructor, and inside that I've just defined some class variable like name and gender. Fine. And inside this class I have taken one method called login. Okay, let's say this is the Coursera let's say website we're implementing, and here we're having one methods called login. Okay, if you just call the login, it will perform the login operation. Then similar wise you can also take another method called register. Okay, inside that I'll just return register. Okay, register done. Now see, I implemented this class actually, user class. So login and register we can perform, okay, inside this particular class. Now what I will do, I'll take another class. The class name should be student. Okay, this class, okay, student. So let me take class student. Okay, student. And inside that I'm going to define a constructor, and let's say constructor variable wise I'll take student roll number. Let's say roll number is 12. Okay, this is the roll number. Now inside that I'm going to create a method. Let's say the method name I'll keep as enroll. I think you saw student can enroll. Okay, now inside that it will give me one message enrolled. Okay, enrolled the course. Okay, this is the idea. Now here what I told you, student can also log in and register. For this actually I don't need to write this function method again and again. What I will do, I'll perform the inheritance with the user. Now if I want to perform the inheritance with the user, what I will do, simply you just need to take a parenthesis, and inside that you have to mention the user class. Okay, that's it. Okay, if you do like that, that means now your student class is inherited with this user class. That means whatever user is having, okay, your student can also access this property. Okay, I hope you cleared. Now similar wise you can also create the instructor one. So let me copy. Okay, let me copy, and you can define the instructor class. Instructor class. And instructor would be also inherited with the user, because instructor can also log in and register, right? And here student can, let's say, create the course. Okay, create the course. So here I'll just write created the course. Fine. And roll number, no, I will give, let's say, ID number of the instructor. Let's say this is the ID number of the instructor. Fine. Now if I execute the program, see, it's working fine. Now first of all, let me define the student object. So I'll just write AS is equal to student. Now see, if I execute, it's working fine. Now if I want to, let's say, access student let's say property, that means let's say student wants to enroll. So what will happen? So I'll just write s.enroll. Now see, it will tell you enroll the course. Now can I access this login? Can I access this login from the student object? Is it possible? Let me show you. See, if I just write s dot, okay, s dot, let's say login. Okay, s dot login. Now if I execute, see, it is also possible. That means it is inherited with this user class. Okay, and inside user, whatever property we are having, it's a non-private property. That is why we are able to access, okay, we are able to access all the parent. Let's say this is my parent right now. This is my parent class. This is my child class. This is also a child class. Okay, I hope you cleared. That means from the child class itself, I can access all the property of my parent class as well. Fine. Now see, if I just press s dot, see, all the functionality you can see. Enroll, gender, login, name, register, roll number. Okay, everything you can see, which is present inside your child class as well, parent class as well. Now let's say I want to perform the register. I can do it. Now similar wise for the instructor as well. Let's say I'll define the instructor. Now if I just write, let's say I dot create course, I can create the course. Even I can also perform the login operation. I dot login. See, created course, login done. Okay, I hope you cleared. The same example we just implemented as a code. That's the idea. Now I'll tell you another thing, but for this actually what I will do, instead of taking multiple classes, I will take only 2 classes. Okay. Because I don't want to take all the actually code here. It would be easy for me to explain. Okay, so that's why I've taken only 2 classes. Let's say user and student. You can also take instructor. It's up to you. Okay, but I haven't taken instructor here. Let's say I will execute this code. Okay, now first of all, let me define the student object. Okay, now if I just write, let's say s.name. Okay, s.name. See, if I just write s.name, that means I want to access this name, okay, which is present inside my parent class. Now, if I execute this code, what will happen? Just let me know. See, if I execute the code, it will throw me one error. Okay, it will throw me one error. It will tell student object has no attribute name. Okay, why? Because I told you I can access my parent class property, non-private property, but why it is not able to access this name variable, name attribute? Why? Okay, because see, there is a concept inside OP and inside actually inheritance. See, in both classes we are having the constructor. I think you know both classes were having the constructor, right? So whenever I'm initializing my student object, that means student class, definitely this constructor will get executed by default. Now see, it will always follow one rule. The rule is, if one class is having his own constructor, okay, if one class is having its own constructor, that constructor would be executed at the very first. That means it will give the first priority to its constructor. Okay, first of all, it will give the priority this particular constructor. That means the constructor it is having. Okay, then it will give the priority to the second constructor, which is it is getting inherited. Got it? That means what is happening whenever you are defining this student object. So here student object having own constructor, that means it will give the first priority to this particular constructor. Now inside this constructor, is there any name? You can see name attribute. No, there is no name attribute. That's why it's throwing error. Student object has no attribute name. But let's say if I comment this constructor code, let's say there is no constructor in this particular class. Now if I execute the program, it will work fine. Why? Because first of all, my code will come here. It will check whether it is having the constructor or not. Now see, I don't have any constructor. Then it will give the priority to the next constructor, which is getting inherited. Okay, this is the idea. First of all, child class will give the first priority to the child constructor. Okay, if not available, then it will give the priority to the parent class constructor. This is the idea. Okay, I hope you got it. Now let's see if I uncomment this line. Now if I just write, let's say roll number. Okay, roll number. Now see, this code will execute because roll number is present inside my constructor right now. Okay, so this is again a super important concept, because many people will get confused. Why actually I'm not able to access the attribute of my parent class? Okay, although I have done the inheritance operation because of that. Okay, because of this particular concept, you have to remember. I hope it is clear. But there is a concept actually we can use if I want to access my parent class, let's say attribute as well from the child class. It is also possible. That time actually we'll be using one actually concept called super class. We'll be using one concept called super class inside inheritance. Okay, with the help of super class we can do it. So I'll also discuss the super class, like how we can use it and how we can access our parent class property, parent class attribute. Okay, so yes, this is all about our inheritance concept inside OP. Okay, and I showed you one example. I think now it is clear. Now in the next video we'll be also learning some new topic. We'll be also learning some advanced topic of the inheritance. Okay, with that, thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you next time. Hello guys, in this video I'll show you how we can define inheritance class diagram. So previously we saw how we can draw like aggregation class diagram. So this is the same, only you just need to change one symbol. So what I can do, I think use the same example I used previously, that aggregation class diagram. So here, let me just show you how we can write the inheritance class diagram right now. See, I'll just copy the same example here, and here I have pasted. Now let me remove the aggregation. Okay, and also remove this particular things. Okay, now just consider this is your user class and this is your let's say student class. Okay, now whenever you are defining actually inheritance class diagram, that time you have to use this particular symbol, that means arrow symbol instead of diamond shape. Okay, And whenever you can see this particular arrow symbol, that means it's a inheritance. Okay, inheritance class diagram. Okay, inheritance class diagram. And again, the concept will remain same. It will have actually your data property and method property. And if you see the plus, that means it's a public, and if you see the minus, that means it's a private property. Okay, so that's how actually we can create our inheritance class diagram. Very simple. Okay, because in interview we'll see this kinds of diagram. Now people will get confused. That's why I showed you what is this diamond shape and what is this arrow shape. Okay, that means diamond shape means you are performing aggregation, and inheritance means you are using arrow icon. Okay, this is the idea only. So I hope it is clear. Thank you so much. Hi guys. In our previous video, I already discussed about inheritance concept inside OOP, and I already showed you lots of example. And I hope now it is clear like what is inheritance inside Python, right? So in this video, I'll show you some more example so that your concept would be more clear. And I'll discuss some of the, let's say, very important topic here. And it is going to help you a lot, okay, whenever you will be using inheritance concept inside OOP. So what I will do, guys, let me show you some of the example. So here I have written a class. Let me show you the class actually I have written. So you can see this is the class I have written. The class name is phone. And inside this class, I have taken a constructor. And this constructor takes actually 3 input, like the price of the phone, brand of the phone, camera of the phone. Now here I'm storing, these are the variable, okay, inside my class variable. Now inside this phone class, I have taken a method called buy, okay. And if you execute the buy, what it will do, it will print buying a phone. Okay, that's it. Then what I did, I created another class called smartphone, and I just perform the inheritance operation. You can see I'm inheriting the phone class, okay, inside the smartphone. Inside that, I'm not doing anything. I'm just writing the pass operation only. Okay. And here I created my smartphone object, and you can see here I'm passing the input. Okay, here I'm passing the input. Now you can ask me why I'm passing the input. Okay, why I'm passing the input? Because smartphone actually doesn't take any kinds of input. You can see smartphone doesn't take any kinds of input. Okay, but why I'm passing the input? I think I showed you na inheritance concept. So you did the inherit operation with the phone class. Now see, phone class takes the input, yes or no? Yes, it takes. And what I told you the constructor concept. Like whenever you are performing inherit operation, first of all you have to check whether your child class is having constructor or not. Okay, if your child class is having constructor, first of all it will give the first priority to that particular constructor. Okay, but if you don't have it, what will happen? It will go to the parent class and it will see the constructor there. Okay, now just let me know, can you see the constructor inside smartphone? That means in the child class? No, it's not there, because here I'm doing the pass operation only. So what will happen? My code will go to the parent class, okay, constructor. And now parent class constructor, how many input it takes? It takes 3 input, price, brand, and camera. That's why here I'm giving the input. Okay, I hope it is clear now. So here is the price of the phone, brand of the phone, and camera of the phone. Let's say we are talking about iPhone 14 Pro Max, or let's say 15 Pro Max. It is having 3 camera. Okay, that is the idea. And after initializing this object, I'm just calling the method. Which method? I'm calling the parent class method. Okay, this method actually I'm calling. Now if I execute this program, but before executing, let me show you one thing actually. So inside constructor, I'm going to write a print statement. So it will print inside phone constructor. Now see, if I execute the code, so it will happen. See, it will give you inside phone constructor. That means this constructor is getting executed because your smartphone doesn't have any kinds of constructor. That's why it is getting executed. So after executing this constructor, I'm also calling the method, that means buy method. So buy method will also execute and it will print buying a phone. Okay, buying a phone. Okay, I hope it is clear. Now let me show you another example. Let's say this is the same class I have written. Only the modification I did here. See, inside smartphone class, what I did, I just written a constructor right now. Okay, so here this constructor takes actually 2 input, the operating system of the phone and RAM of the phone. Okay, and here I'm storing these are the value. Okay, and here I'm doing a print operation. Now what I will do, I'll just call, let's say s.buy. Okay, if I just do s.buy. Now see, if I execute the program right now, what will happen? First of all, try to understand what is happening. So here I'm having 2 class called phone and smartphone. Now just try to see, smartphone is having its own constructor, yes or no? Yes. So that means it will give the first priority to the constructor. That means this constructor will execute it at the very first. And how many input takes this constructor? 2 input. Okay, operating system and RAM. That's why I'm passing operating system and RAM. Okay, this is the idea. That's actually I'm initializing the smartphone object. Then what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to access the method of the parent class. Okay, this particular by. Now if I execute the program, now tell me, it will execute inside smartphone constructor or inside phone constructor. So if I execute, it will print inside smartphone constructor, because smartphone is having the constructor, child class is having the constructor. Okay, that's why it is executing at the very first, then it is executing the by method. Okay, this is the idea. Now let's say if I want to access this brand, okay, access this brand of the phone. Now I'll just write s.brand. Will it work? Tell me, will it work? No, it will throw you error. Smartphone object does not have any attribute brand, because now in this constructor there is no brand variable you have created. And I told you, if child class is having the constructor, so it will look for inside that only. Okay, not inside your parent class constructor, but we can access it with the help of super keyword. I will also discuss this particular super keyword. With the help of super keyword, we can overcome this particular situation. Okay, I'll be discussing this part. Can I access private property? Can I access private property from the child class? Is it possible? Let me show you. Let's say price is the private variable right now. Okay, it is the private variable right now. Now here, I'll delete this line. Now see, everything is fine. Now here I'm going to access this price. Okay, I'll just write, let's say underscore price. Okay, underscore price. Now see, if I execute, but it won't be working because it is having the constructor. So what I will do, as of now, let's remove this constructor. Okay, it's not required, and I will do the pass operation only. Okay, pass operation. Now if I execute, so it will give you phone init missing one positional argument camera. Okay, so here I'm passing the input. Sorry. So what I have to do, I have to initialize this object, because now I don't have the constructor inside my smartphone. Okay, that's why I have to give my parent class constructor input. Okay, this one. Okay, now if I execute, see, now smartphone does not have any private, okay, private property. But again, I'm trying to access from outside of the class. So what I will do, inside smartphone, I'll just write, let's say def, I'll take a function. So this function will print the price. I'll just write self, okay, dot underscore price. Now if I execute, now I'll just call this function, let's say print price. Okay, now see, if I execute, it will throw you one error. Okay, smartphone price, it's not available because it's a private property right now. Okay, it's a private property, you can't access it. But if I want to access, that means if I want to show it, so what I can do, I think remember, I can get a getter method for this. So here inside this class, I'll create a getter method. Let's say I'll just name it as get underscore price. Okay, so simply I'll just return self.price. Okay, now instead of calling like that, I'll call self.get price. Okay, and this is a method. Now if I execute, now see, it is able to access the price of the phone. Okay, so that's how I can access the private property. But directly it is not possible because it supports a non-private like property. Okay, always inheritance work with the non-private property. Okay, not the private property. I hope it is clear. So yes, these are some actually concept. I just wanted to let you know how things are working so that you won't be getting confused later on. And it's like very important concept. So please try to practice. Just try to create different class and try to execute and try to understand, okay, what is happening inside that. So yes, this is all about from this video. I hope you liked it. Thank you so much. Hello everyone. In this video, we'll try to discuss what is method overloading inside OOP. For this, I'm going to copy the same example. So I think you remember here we created a class. Let me copy and here let me paste. So here what I'm going to do, instead of taking the print price function, I'm going to create another function here. Let's say the function name is, so inside this class, I'm going to create another method called buy. Okay, the same method actually I'm going to create called buy. Now you can see inside the parent class also I'm having the buy method. Inside child class also I'm having the buy method. Okay, now if I just write s.buy, okay, if I just write s.buy, now see, if I execute the program, so let me write, so here let me give a message, buying a phone inside phone constructor, buying a phone inside a smartphone constructor. Okay, so this is the message I have given. Now if I execute the program, let me know which buy would be executed, your parent class buy or your child class buy. See, if I execute the program, Let me select the kernel. See, it is printing buying a phone inside a smartphone constructor. Okay, that means this method is getting executed. Okay, so this is called actually method overriding. Okay, inside OOP, because here we are having the same method. Okay, same method name, buy and buy, and in both places actually it is present inside my parent class also, inside my child class also. So whenever I call this particular method, it will execute the child class method first of all, because I told you now, first of all it will see whether it is having the property or not. If it is having the property, that means the property we're looking for, first of all it will execute. That means it will give the first priority. Okay, otherwise it will go to the parent class, then it will execute. The same concept you learn, the constructor concept I showed you now. Let's say first of all it will check its constructor, then it will check the parent class constructor. Okay, so that was called constructor overriding, and this is called actually method overriding. Okay, inside OOP. Now I think it is clear what is method overloading. So sometimes you will hear this particular name, so that's why I showed you what is method overriding. And if you are having this kinds of situation, so first of all your child class method will be executed then, and if you don't have the child class let's say method, your parent class method will be executed. Okay, this is the idea. So I hope you got it. Thank you so much. Hi everyone, welcome back. In this video, we'll be learning one very interesting concept inside OOP called super keyword. See, I think you remembered I showed you some of the example, and I was also discussing about what is constructor overriding and method overriding. That means if you have something in the child class, and that thing if you're looking for, first of all it will check that particular let's say methods or constructor. Otherwise it will go to the parent one. Okay, now see here I call this particular by, so my child class method is getting executed, but I'm not able to access the parent class method right now. Okay, so how I can do it? I told you now I will be using one concept called super keyword. Okay, inside OOP. So with the help of that, actually we can easily call the parent class, let's say attribute as well as the method. So let me show you one example. So I'll copy the same code as it is. So here I'm going to paste it. Now here simply what I will do, everything is fine. So simply in the child class I'm going to take a keyword called super. Okay, super, you can see super. Now let's say I want to execute this by inside my parent class. Okay, so what I will do, I'll just give dot by. Okay, dot by. Now see what will happen, this particular super keyword it will just go to the parent class and it will execute this particular method right now. Okay, now let me show you. So if I now execute the program, see if I execute the program right now, now see both by is getting executed. First of all this will get executed, buying a phone inside a smartphone constructor, then buying a phone inside phone constructor. That means this one is also getting executed. So that's how with the help of super keyword or super function, what you can do, you can access your parent class attribute as well as the method. So this is for the method actually access. Now how I can do for the attribute execution? Okay, so let me show you another example. So guys, you can see I have kept another example, the same example, phone and smartphone. Now phone will take actually 3 parameter, price, brand and camera, and here I'm initializing one by one. Then I'm taking another class called smartphone, then I'm performing the inheritance with the phone. Then inside that you can see I have taken a constructor. Okay, inside that I have taken a constructor, and inside this constructor I'm taking all the input. Okay, all the input for both of the classes. You can see I'm also taking price, brand, camera, price, brand, camera, as well as I'm also taking the smartphone input, which is nothing but voice and RAM. Okay, voice and RAM. Now here inside that I'm taking a super keyword, you can see. And now if you want to access the attribute, okay, if you want to access the attribute inside a class, that means inside your parent class, you have to take this particular init. That means you are telling, just try to go inside parent class, and whatever, let's say, that means whatever, let's say, attribute present inside the constructor, that means inside the init, okay, init function, just try to access everything. Now just tell me how many actually attribute I'm having. I'm having 3 attribute, price, brand, camera. So here I'm giving price, brand and camera. So now what will happen, it will able to access all the attribute which is present inside this constructor right now, inside this particular class. Then it will execute this particular child class constructor. Okay, now your OS would be initialized and RAM would be initialized. Okay, now see, whenever I'm initializing a smartphone class, I'm giving all the input one by one. Like that means price of the phone, brand of the phone, camera, operating system, as well as the RAM of the phone. Now if I want to access the brand, that means brand is present inside the parent class, I can easily do it. I can also access the operating system, I can also access the price. That means I can access everything from the parent class as well as the from the child class. Now let me show you. If I execute the program, see, it will give you all the output one by one. Okay, so that's how with the help of super keyword you can access your parent class constructor. That means whatever non-attribute property you are having, whether it can be attribute, whether it can be methods, okay, everything you can access with the help of super keyword. And it's like very powerful concept inside OOP. Okay, so previous issue I think you saw, we can overcome this particular issue with the help of this particular super keyword inside OOP. Okay, now I think most of the things are clear how to use inheritance, okay, properly, and some important concept I also showed you. Now I think you can practice and you can use these are the concept in your implementation. Okay, so yes, this is all about from this video. I hope you liked it. Thank you so much. Hi everyone, in this video we'll see the types of the inheritance are available inside OOP. So here I have listed down all the types of the inheritance. So the first types you can see single inheritance, then multi-level inheritance, hierarchical inheritance, and multiple inheritance. Okay, so these 4 types of inheritance are available inside OOP. So as of now we have already worked with the single inheritance. Okay, I think you know. So this is the class we implemented now, and here we perform the inherit operation. Okay, that means this is my parent class and this is my child class, and we are inheriting with our parent class. Okay, this is called actually single inheritance. That means so far whatever example we have written, this is our single inheritance. Okay, now let me show you the multi-level inheritance, hierarchical inheritance, and multiple inheritance. Okay, how it will look like. So first of all I will show you the diagram of it, then I will also show you the code example. Okay, how you can write all the types of inheritance inside Python. So first of all let me show you the single. I think you already know, okay, how single inheritance look like. So you have one parent class and you have one child class. So you will be doing the inheritance like that. That means child class will inherit the parent class. That means whatever let's say property we are having of the parent, we can use inside the child class. Okay, this is called single inheritance. And how your multi-level inheritance will look like, see, so here you will have grandfather. Okay, grandfather, then you will have father, then you will have child. Okay, and it will inherit like that. First of all, child will inherit father, and father will inherit grandfather. Okay, that means here your child can access all the property. It can also access the grandfather property, it can also access the father property, but father can only access the grandfather property. Okay, so this is called multi-level inheritance. Okay, and it's not like that you will be only taking grandfather, father, and child. You can also take after grandfather, and so on. Okay, infinite time you can take, but that much depth actually you don't need to go. 3 to 4 depth I think it is fine. Okay, 3 to 4 level I think it is fine. Now let me tell you this hierarchical inheritance. So here you will have one parent class, and this parent class will have multiple child class. That's a C1, C2, and C3 like that, and it will inherit with the parent class. All the child class will inherit with the parent class. Okay, that means all the child class can access parent class property. Okay, this is called actually hierarchical inheritance concept. Okay, now the last one, which is nothing but multiple inheritance. Now inside multiple inheritance you will have multiple parent. There's a P1 and P2. Okay, so I'm having 2 parent class, and here we are having only 1 child class. Okay, let's see. So it will inherit like that. That means your C, that means child class will inherit with the P1 as well and P2 as well. That means both parent, it will try to do the inherit operation. Let's say this is your father, okay, and this is your mother. That means you are trying to inherit with your father as well as your mother. Okay, that means all the property you can access here. So this is called multiple inheritance. I hope it is clear. Apart from that, there is another inheritance which is called actually a hybrid inheritance. So inside hybrid inheritance you will be using all the inheritance whatever you have learned. Okay, you will just do the combination and you will be using all of them. But again, it's like very less used. But if you want to use it, you can also use it. You have to combine all the inheritance together and you can implement hybrid inheritance. Okay, this is the idea. But these are the very popular inheritance, and this is like most used in inheritance. Okay, whenever you will be implementing any kinds of software product. Now let's see the code example one by one. Okay, then I think it will be more clear. So here I already written all the example. See, it's like very easy. See, first of all, I showed the multi-level inheritance. So here I've taken the See, here I have taken some examples. So first of all, I have taken a class called product. Okay. So inside product, I'm having one method called review. Then I'm having another actually class you can see called phone. And inside that I'm having one constructor, and inside that I'm having one method, okay, which is nothing but buy. Now you can see phone is inheriting with the product. Okay, phone is inheriting with the product. Now how your multi-level inheritance looks like, see, this is the multi-level. That means it will have three class: grandfather, father, and child. Child will inherit with the father, father will inherit with the grandfather. That means you can see this is my grandfather, this is my father, and father is getting inherited with the grandfather. Okay, this is the idea. Now again, I have taken another class called smartphone. Okay, and this is my child class, and child will inherit with the father. That means phone. Okay, this is the idea. Now this is my complete multi-level inheritance. Okay, now I'm initializing the smartphone. Now see, if I just write s.by, now by is present inside my father class. Okay, you can see father class, it is present. So by is also executing. Then I'm calling the review. Review is present inside my grandfather. That means child can access father property as well, grandfather property as well. Okay, that's why it is printing all of them. Okay, inside phone constructor, because it doesn't have any constructor, so it will look for in the father constructor. So father constructor it is already having, so this constructor will be executed. Okay, then I'm trying to call this by. That means this by will execute, then this review will execute. Okay, this is the idea. I hope it is clear. Now let me show you the next one, hierarchical one. Now how hierarchical looks like, that's how it will have one parent class and multiple child class. See, one parent class phone, and it is having multiple child class, child 1 the smartphone and child 2 feature phone. Okay, now here I'm doing the inherit operation. You can see phone and phone. Got it? That means both child class can access the property of parent. Okay, so here I have defined smartphone, the first child class, and here I've given the input. The input actually takes, and now I'm trying to access the buy. Okay, you can see now it will show me the buying a phone, because here I'm inside that I'm returning this particular buying a phone, right? And the second one featuring phone, again I'm calling the buy, so it will also able to access the buy because both are child class of the parent class. Okay, this is called actually hierarchical inheritance. Now the last one, which is nothing but multiple inheritance. Now how it looks like, you can see it is having two parent class and one child class. Now you can see here I have defined two parent class. First parent class is phone. Inside that I'm having one method, and the second parent class is product. Okay, inside that I'm having review. Now one child class I implemented called smartphone, because smartphone will have phone and product both. Now here I have done the inherit operation. You can see phone and product both, because it can inherit with both parent class. Okay, that's how we have to give. First of all, you have to give the first one, then you have to give the last one. Okay, now if I just initialize the object, now if I just call, let's say buy. Okay, buy. Now where buy is present inside my parent class. Okay, you can see it is present inside my parent class. Okay, so buy will be executed. You can see buying a phone. Then I'm calling the review. Now review is present inside my parent class, again inside the product. Okay, it is also able to access this particular property. So this is called actually multiple inheritance. Okay, so these are the inheritance actually we'll be using going forward. So I showed you all of them one by one. Now please try to practice from your end, try to create different example and try to execute in your system. Okay, then this part will be more clear. So yes, this is all about from this video. I hope you liked it. Thank you so much for watching this particular video, and I will see you next time. Hi everyone, welcome back. In this video, we'll be discussing another OP topic called polymorphism. So what is polymorphism? So let me go to our code editor and try to understand there. So guys, you can see polymorphism is nothing but polymorphism refers to having multiple form. Polymorphism is a programming term that refers to use of the same function name but with a different signature. Okay, so inside polymorphism actually we are having three kinds of concept, like method overriding, method overloading, and operator overloading. Okay, so method overriding we already saw. I think I already created one video on top of method overriding. That means inside method overriding what happens, let's say if your child class is having the method, or let's say that constructor, first of all it will give the priority to that. Okay, otherwise it will go to the parent class, then it will give the priority to the parent class constructor, or let's say the method. Okay, this is called actually method overriding. Even I already showed one example. Now in this video I'll try to show what is method overloading and operator overloading. Okay, and this definition would be also clear. Okay, what I'm trying to say, see, here I have taken a class called shape, and inside this class actually I have taken two functions. One is area, again I have taken another function called area. That means with the same name I have taken two different functions, but if you see them carefully, so this function works in a different way. So the first function will calculate the radius, okay, and the second function will try to do the multiplication of A and B. That means now I think this definition is clear. Polymorphism refers to having a multiple form. That means you are having multiple form of a function. Polymorphism is a programming terms that refers to use of the same function name. Okay, you can see same function name but with a different signature. So here the function working mechanism is a different. Okay, this is the idea. Now based on the input, actually it will decide whether it has to run this function or this function. Now whenever I'm giving only one input, that means radius, so which function will be executed? This function will be executed. And if I'm giving two input, that means A and B, that means this function will be executed. But unfortunately inside Python, actually you don't have this particular concept called polymorphism, but in other programming language actually it is having. Okay, like in Java programming language we have this particular concept polymorphism. See, if I execute the code right now, see what will happen. So let's say I will first of all try to calculate the radius. Okay, I'll give 2 here. Now see, if I execute the program, so it will throw me one error. See, it is throwing me one error. Shape area missing one positional argument B. That means what is happening, instead of running this function, it is running this particular function. That means this particular method. Okay, but although it should run this method because I have given only one input, but it's not running. Why? Because I told you in Python actually this concept is not available. So in Python, if you want to handle this kinds of situations, so I'll tell you one technique actually you can use. But directly you can't use the polymorphism concept inside Python, but in other programming language it is possible. Okay, now see, I can access the second function. So if I give 2 input, let's say 2, 3, now see, it will work. It will give me 6. Okay, so if I just multiply 2 multiply by 3, it will give me 6. Okay, now I think it is clear. Now if I want to handle this situation in Python, what I can do like that. See, instead of taking 2 different functions, I'll take only one function called area, and I will give all the input, let's say radius, L and B. Okay, now here I'll just write one condition. If my B is equal to none, that means if you're not giving any kinds of B value, that means you want to calculate the radius. So here I'm returning the radius calculation. Otherwise I want to perform L multiply by B. Okay, now here I've defined the object. So to understand it, I can just write a print function here. So it is for radius and it is for multiply. Now see, instead of giving like that, I can just define the variable name. Let's say I'll give radius is equal to, let's say 8. Let's say radius is equal to 8. Then I will give, let's say L is equal to none and B is equal to also none. Now if I execute the program, see, it is calculating the radius. Now if I'm giving, let's say L is equal to 45 and B is equal to, let's say 3. Now it will calculate my multiply. Okay, so that's how actually we can handle this particular situation inside Python. Okay, I hope you cleared. Now you can ask me why it is required, because see, sometimes if you are writing code and if you want to perform the same operation again and again, see here I'm calculating the area of let's say area of circle, area of let's say rectangle and so on, right? Instead of writing different method for this, I can only create one method and I can write this condition. Okay, if my let's say B value is none, so I will return the radius, otherwise I'll return the area of rectangle. Okay, that's how actually you can handle the situation. Okay, this is the idea. Now let me discuss what is operator overloading. See, operator overloading means the same operator you are using for multiple actually tasks. Let me show you. So if I'm giving one example of the plus operator, let's say I'm writing hello, then again I'm writing plus hello. Okay, hello. See, whenever I'm using plus with string, it will do the concatenation. You can see it will do the concatenation, right? But whenever I'm using with integer, so it will give me the addition. Okay, addition of this particular 2 number. But whenever I'm using with the list, okay, let's say 1 2 3. Now see, if I execute again, what it will do the concatenation operation. Okay, so this is the idea. That means the same operator you are using, but it is working in a different form with different data type. Okay, so this is again called polymorphism. Okay, polymorphism inside OOP. But again, I'm telling you, polymorphism is not a concept inside Python. We can somehow manage the situation with the help of some condition, but in other programming language, you can use this particular concept. Okay, so that is what I just wanted to let you know, because in interview, if someone asks you this particular question, so that you will have the answer. Okay, and you can give the answer properly. So yes, this is all about from this video. I hope you like it. Thank you so much. Hello everyone, welcome back. In this video, we'll be discussing another concept inside object-oriented programming called abstraction. So to understand abstraction, let's go to our code editor, and there I'm going to show you some example. So guys, as you can see, abstraction is nothing but it's just a fundamental concept inside Python programming that allows us to simplify the complex concept and focuses on the essential details It involves hiding unnecessary detail and exposing only the relevant information to the user. See, sometimes what happens actually, whenever you are implementing any kinds of software, you want to hide some, let's say, hide some functionality. Okay, so you don't want to actually show to the user. That means you don't want to show to your junior developer like what you have implement, right? So for this, actually, you can use abstraction. Even you can also put some constraint. Okay, you can also put some constraint restriction to the junior programmer if they want to use your class. Okay, that means if they want to inherit with your class, so you can apply some constraint, you can apply some condition. If this condition is matching, then your junior programmer will be able to access the functionality, okay, inside your let's say class you implemented. That means what happens inside our parent class, we define some of the functionality. Okay, let's say we define some attributes, we define some methods, then we'll apply some constraint so that whenever on top of it any child class would be implemented, let's say any child class wants to inherit that particular parent class, so that particular child class has to follow the same constraint. That means whatever constraint you will be giving, it has to follow the same constraints. Again, the things are a little bit complicated, I know that. So let's see the example. I think then this part would be clear. So let's say here you are working in a software, you are implementing one bank software, okay, banking application. Let's say you are implementing one bank application, okay, bank app. Fine. So definitely, first of all, this bank app should be connected to the database, because in the database only all the users information would be there, okay, of the bank. Now let's say as a senior programmer, you have actually written this functionality, this bank app functionality, okay, the main functionality you have written. Now let's say there are some junior programmer, what they will do, they will create some application on top of the bank app. Let's say this is my main server of the bank, okay, I have implemented as a senior programmer. Now my junior programmer will create one web app, okay, web app on top of this particular bank app. Then he might also create something called mobile app, because you know that, right? Now it is actually all the banking system having their website and mobile app, okay, and it will have one main bank server. Okay, this is what actually your senior programmer, let's say, implemented, and these two actually your junior programmer will implement. Okay, and now here you can apply some constraint as a senior programmer. If they want to access your bank app, that means main server, they want to pass one security, okay, security layer. If they're passing the security layer, then they will be able to access this particular bank server. Otherwise, they won't be able to do it. Okay, so for this, let me show you one example of the abstraction, okay, how it can be used. So see, if you want to use abstraction, so you have to use one class called abstraction base class, okay, and it is actually available inside one library. So you have to import that library from abc, import abc, that means abstraction base class, and you have to also import another method here called abstraction class method. No, I think abstract method. Okay, this one actually you have to import. Then let's say as a senior programmer, okay, as a senior programmer, I'll be writing the main bank server code. So let's say this is my bank server, and it would be inherited with the abstraction base class. If you want to create a abstraction class, just try to remember, guys, this is not a simple class right now. This is an abstraction based class right now. Okay, if you want to perform this abstraction concept inside OOP, you have to inherit with the ABC, that means abstraction based class, okay, of your parent class, the class actually you are implementing as a senior programmer. Okay, now inside that, let's say first of all, I'll write one functionality. Let's say database. Main server should connect with the database. Okay, if I want to use the application self, so let's say inside that I'll give a message connected database. Okay, let's say this is the message I'm printing as of now. Now inside that I'll be giving the constraint to the junior programmer. So here I'll just write, if you want to access, okay, if you want to access my bank server functionality, so first of all you have to, okay, you have to pass one security. That means you should also have the security function in your code. So I will create a function called security. Inside that I'll just write security passed. Okay, now see, this is not actually simple method right now. This is a abstraction method, okay, abstract method. Okay, this is abstract method. Now see what will happen. Now if I execute the program, it will work fine. But before executing, I'm going to create another class here. Now let's say this class is implementing by the junior programmer, okay, junior programmer. Now the class name is, let's say, this one. So he'll be creating one mobile app, let's say, on top of the main bank server. So let's say mobile app, okay, and it would be inherited with the bank server. Okay, that means the parent class. And inside that, let's say he has written one function mobile login. First of all, definitely, first of all, your mobile should be logged in. So here I'll just give a message, mobile app login successful. Fine. Now see, if I'm executing this code, now let's see if I want to create the object of mobile app. Now see what will happen. So you'll just write mob is equal to mobile app. Now see if I execute the program, it will throw me one error. See, so it is telling can't instantiate abstract class mobile app without an implementation of abstract method security. That means as a senior programmer, you have given one constraint. If you want to inherit with my bank server, that means if you want to access all the functionality of my bank server, you should have the security function in your code as well. Okay, so that's actually you can put some constraint to the junior programmer. Otherwise, what will happen? They won't be creating the security. And again, this application won't be a robust application. Okay, it won't be a secured application. Okay, so as a senior programmer, you have to take care. Because it's possible junior programmer may mistake. Okay, these are the thing. Okay, now we are telling if you want to create a bank server, if you want to create some application on top of the bank server, security must be there. Okay, in your code, otherwise it won't be working. Okay, now what you will do, you will come here and you will create one security function here. Let's say security, and inside that, let's say you'll just write mobile app security. Okay, let's say this is the message I have given. Fine. Now see if I execute the program right now. Now if I want to initialize the object, see it will work fine. Okay, there is no error because now this security functionality you have also created, whatever actually your senior programmer suggested to you. Okay, this is the idea. Now let's see if I want to access the database right now, or let's see if I want to access the mobile login, I can do it. I'll just write mob dot, let's say, now let's say I will call this method mobile login. Now see if I execute, this is working fine. Okay, now let's say I want to access the database from my parent class. I think you know there is a method I created called database. See, I can also access this. Fine. Okay, so that's how actually you can apply any kinds of constraint to the child class. Okay, if you're a senior programmer, this kinds of functionality you already have inside OOP. And again, this is like very less used topic inside object-oriented programming. So I've seen like very less application they're using the abstraction in their actual implementation. But again, if you want to use it, you can use it, because if there is any requirement, you have to use the abstraction. So definitely you can use it there. Okay, it's not about only one function. You can also put the restriction to the multiple function as well. Let's say if I create another method here, let's say display. Okay, so inside that I'm going to write, let's say displaying the data. Now again, this is a, let's say, abstract method. Okay, now see, now again, if I want to execute my code, let's say I want to initialize the mobile app object, it will again throw me error. It is telling a display is not present. Okay, in your, let's say, implementation. So what do you have to do? Again, you have to implement another method called display. Now inside that you will be writing displaying data or anything. Now see if I execute the program right now, it is working fine. Okay, so that's how actually you can put restriction, you can put like constraint to the junior programmer. So yes, this is the topic I just wanted to let you know. And this was the last topic inside OP, because we have completed all the topics. Okay, all the topics present inside object-oriented programming inside Python. And now I think everything is clear. Now it's time to create one project with the help of OP. But before that, I'm going to teach you some more concept, like what is modular coding inside Python. Because many of you will have the like question, what is modular coding and how to write the modular coding. Let's say if I'm writing something in a file, how to import that particular code in any other file. Okay, this is called modular coding. So we'll be also discussing that part. Then we'll be implementing one amazing object-oriented programming project. Okay, with the help of all the concept we have learned so far. Okay, so yes, this is all about from this video. I hope you liked it. Thank you so much for watching this particular video, and I will see you next time.